Let's do this. Get ready for the Dirt Life Show.
Yeah, we are ready for the Dirt Life Show. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. As usual, I'm Georgie Hamill. Right next to me to my left, I got my buddy Casey Peck.
What's up, everybody?
How's everybody doing tonight? I hope you guys are all doing awesome. We cannot wait to talk to our featured guest tonight. None other than, well, I like to call him like the industry, I don't even know, like king.
Yeah.
He's RC car industry extraordinaire, man. Adam Drake. Like in the short time that I've known him, it's been really cool because I've learned so much from the things that he says. Like, he's just a really smart person. Like I said in our Instagram post earlier, he's just a super hard worker. Like, he just puts in the work all the time, daily.
Hardest, yep.
And it really shows because he is just he's like on the forefront of everything that he does. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And it's cool to see somebody that's so passionate about what they do. So
right.
we are
so committed to the industry that he supports and supports him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, and just people around him too, you know.
Agreed.
So it's just cool to see people like that. I love it. So we can't wait to talk to him. I've actually been looking forward to this for a month and a half, 6 weeks or so.
Yeah, me too.
So it's pretty cool to have him on. And you guys have had a long relationship racing RC cars. You even have some stuff that we can show him later today. But,
yeah, definitely.
It's pretty neat to see like racing buddies like get together even though they're not in the same state, you know.
Totally. It's crazy in racing, all kinds of racing, the friendships that you make that last the lifetime, you know. It's a lot of very meaningful friendships, and Adam and mine is one that I'll cherish forever.
For sure. Well, you were in his wedding.
That's right.
So
we were going down memory lane there for a
yeah,
second.
Exactly. So it'll be cool to talk to him. And it's funny because, like, even the conversations that people brought up today, and for me in my own world and behind the scenes for the Dirt Life, they were talking about the same kind of things. Put in work, how things are going, like all that stuff. So it's really, really cool. Looks like your buddy's calling in a little early. So we are really stoked to call or to talk with Adam Drake in a little while here. We got a couple of his buddies calling in. We got Alvin Crowder calling in, Mike Truey calling in. It'll be really, really cool to talk to those guys. But before we do so, we obviously have to thank all of our sponsors. Thank you so much to Shock Therapy for always just having our backs, man. It's really awesome to have these kind of companies really support us. So we want you guys to support them as well because they are just fantastic people to have come along for the ride. They are the ones that are supporting this show so that we can bring it to you. So thank you very much to the Shock Therapy guys. You can use the code DIRTLIFE on shocktherapist.com, or you can also call them and say that the Dirt Life sent you, and you get a little fat discount on any of their products that they offer, and suspension revalve kits for your side-by-side, all that good stuff, man. They do such good work. Thank you very much to the guys at KMC Wheels. Thank you very much, Ryan Edwards over there, for just being an all-around badass. He did some mini bike riding. I want to go over there and hang out with those guys and do some California mini bike riding. But thank you very much to KMC Wheels for supporting the show too. They've been an awesome partner to have. Thank you to the guys at Zollinger Racing Products. Travis over there, they've been doing so much fun stuff, man. They're getting ready to do I think Silver State 300 coming up pretty soon. Everybody's actually doing that. I talked to some of the Polaris guys today, and they canceled the Score Baja 500.
Yeah, that's crazy because it was just like a week ago. Everybody was all pumped that it was still a go, right?
Yeah, and so they canceled it. Well, I got more news too, but
oh boy.
So they canceled the Baja 500. So, Brett Carpenter from Polaris was saying that I think he said there was 10 drivers in the normally aspirated UTV class and then like maybe 20 or 30 in the turbo class, and now everybody's coming over from the Score race to race the Best in the Desert Silver State 300 now, and it like doubled all the entries.
Oh, nice.
So everybody's like scrambling to get to the race and do all kinds of cool stuff. And
that's cool.
Our buddy Craig Scanlon, that was on episode 41 or no 39 maybe. He's gonna go race Silver State 300 too. So that'll be really cool to see him do well in that. And the guys that support that. Rugged Radios. Thank you very much to the guys at Rugged Radios. Use the code DIRTLIFE over at the Rugged Radios website. You can save get a big old fat discount over there. And thank you to the guys at Solder Weld. We're going to be doing some discounts in the next month or so, some giveaways in the next month or so with the guys at Solder Weld. They sent us a whole bunch of stuff that we give back to you guys, so it's going to be awesome. You can get one of those off-road repair kits. We got a new welding blanket that's got a slit in the middle of it, so you can wrap it around pipe and stuff. It's sweet.
That's awesome.
Magnets on it, so you can like put it up.
Super cool.
Yeah, like, dude, next level welding blanket. I'm so stoked.
Awesome.
And thank you very much to those guys at Solder Weld.
How are we going to give those away?
I don't know. We should come up with something fun.
We need some input. How are we going to give it away, people?
Yeah, you guys should chime in. Let us know how you guys want us to give it away. If you guys are watching right now, comment in and ask us or tell us how you think we should give it away. And if you're not watching, you're listening to it on iTunes, you want to direct message us and let us know how to give it away, you can do that as well. You can always keep up with us on social media. And at the Dirt Life Show on Instagram, that's the best way. And obviously Facebook and Twitter too. Like I always say, nobody uses Twitter, so who really cares about Twitter? Yeah, so just hit us up anytime. Like I said, we want to always thank everybody for being such an integral part of the show, man. You guys are awesome. The amount of messages and everything that we've been getting lately is just, it's mind-blowing. Like I was talking about it to Brett Carpenter today. It's just so cool to see how much interaction and how much people are really liking the show. So we're going to be in 2 months from now. I have my work cut out for me. I got to get a bunch of statistics ready and like do a whole bunch of cool stuff to make sure that we're doing operating the business portion of the Dirt Life Show properly. And maybe we can get some more sponsors on and keep this show going for everybody to keep hanging out on Monday nights, 6 p.m. So, yeah, thank you guys very, very much. We really appreciate it. So like I was saying, dude, they canceled the Score Baja 1000 or Baja 500 because of the COVID stuff. And Lucas just released for the Lucas Off-Road Short Course Series, they're not going to have Pro 4s anymore.
Really?
Yeah. They're only going to have the bigger classes.
So
all the Pro 4 guys now are going over to the Midwest Series that Johnny Greaves has, and there's tons of Pro 4 guys now. So, like, basically Lucas wrote their own ticket and is going to, like, that's going to kill the whole, like, okay, so the racers, right, and Lucas Series, you obviously want to cater to the racers because you need more racers to get more fans, right?
Sure.
But the fans go to watch the Pro 4s.
Right. That's the headliner, right?
Well, it's always the coolest race.
Right.
I get why Lucas did what they did. Like, I understand it. Because Pro 4s, there's usually, let's just say, 5 to 7 of them out on the track. But you can't really have very many more than that because they're so freaking gnarly, right? Like, they take up so much track and they're
right.
But the problem is at the end of the race, there's only 2 or 3 of them left because they all break down.
4x. Yeah,
because they break their drive lines usually. But the craziest part about it is that Lucas pretty much wrote their own death ticket. Like, UTVs are supporting the series pretty much. You got pro light guys, maybe that's, second or whatever. But now the fans aren't going to necessarily come just to watch UTVs.
Right.
If they had a UTV specific series with UTV specific fans.
Yeah, you draw a different crowd probably.
Right. And then, maybe do something with the big trucks and stuff other than that. But I don't know, man. I think it was a really bad decision for them to do that. So we'll have to see. Like, if they were playing their cards right, they would have asked some of those other guys from the Midwest to come over here and give them an incentive to get 10 of the really best Pro 4 drivers out on course.
And then have a real premier class always.
Yeah. So it would be like, what would you think if Supercross decided that the 250 class was the least expensive and the most riders, and then they just did away with the 450s? It would be like garbage then, right? Like
that wouldn't be good. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's an exaggeration.
I'm sure they have reasons, but yeah.
Yeah, and they want to do it for timing reasons. Now they're going to have all kinds of extra stuff that they got to add in, like layers of complexity because of COVID and stuff when they start the series again. So I understand the business decisions behind some of this stuff, but you got to remember, no matter what happens with your business decisions, the fans are the most important part, just like our show.
Yeah, and I think off-road. Well, I don't think. We know it. Off-road's a whole different story. I mean, can you imagine if they try to make it so mainstream that all of a sudden it's like a NASCAR chase style? That would not be good.
It can't. It has to be more backyard.
That's what I mean. It still has to have that grit. I mean, we're on dirt.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, so I guess you could kind of qualify it into Adam Drake and the RC world. What if they try to be all like super, super like corporate focused, laser guided? Like, it wouldn't work in the RC world because everybody's so much looser. Like, it doesn't fit. You can't do it like that. But I don't know. I'm just bummed that they took out Pro 4s. Like, that's just, well, put it this way. We would sit in the pits. We would race our UTVs. We would never, ever go watch the races except for the Pro 4s. then we'd go watch the Pro 4s. You remember growing up as a kid, you'd race your dirt bike in the novice class or whatever, and you'd go up to the bleachers and watch the pros?
The pro class, absolutely.
It's the same thing.
Definitely.
So they're taking out the big dogs. So I don't know, man. I think Lucas made a really bad decision by doing that. I think that they should have definitely tried to see if they could have worked with some of the Midwest guys to get them out here and to get more revenue into the series and to also get more drivers into the series. But, hey, you know, we're not the bosses, so
we'll see.
We'll see what happens. But I do think that it's super cool that all of the desert racers are going to the Silver State 300 now.
Yeah, that's going to be different for that normal crowd probably.
I think it really will be.
Yeah.
I think it'll be super cool, though.
They destroyed the track, too. That's probably a good point.
What track?
Yeah, I think Sean's probably talking about
Wild Horse?
No, 4x. That's probably what he's getting at.
Yeah, the trucks actually destroy the track. They do, but there is good behind that because
they can mud pack.
They used to run the Pro 4's first moto or first race.
Right.
Like, so you do qualifying and then you do intros and the national anthem and all that stuff, and then the Pro 4's would go out right away. And guess who was second? Normally aspirated UTVs.
Oh,
and who liked the rough track?
Yeah,
this guy right here.
You guys were pumped.
So I love. I love rough tracks.
Nice.
So like, because most of the time those short course tracks are smooth.
Right.
There's just like a dirt track, like a. You know, there's hardly any bumps. They start getting like a little rut, and then everybody starts complaining, right? Like, I just loved after it was just dominated. Like, the rougher it was, the better.
Yeah, so. You need to showcase your shock therapy.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And your motocross skill set.
That's for sure.
Both of them. And then you come off the track, you're like, yeah, the track was beat, and all my stuff held up. So look at all these awesome sponsors.
Nice.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be really, really cool, though, in the Midwest. Johnny Greaves has his series. I forgot what it's called, but if somebody else can chime in and let us know, that'd be super cool. But it's a pretty cool series now. They got tons and tons of UTVs. I mean, like tons.
It's gonna be.
They're going to have qualifying.
It's going to be sweet.
And then they got a bunch of Pro 4 dudes now. So
how's it going, Carl? How you doing, buddy? Yeah, I'm interested to see how it pans out.
I think it'll be pretty cool. I do. Well, and then we'll have to see what happens at the Lucas races and stuff. So it'll just be fun for us to go there and check it out. So
you know what we're gonna have to do? I was gonna throw a disclaimer out there. I have a feeling there's gonna be so much interaction that
today
I'm gonna be terrible, and people are gonna get their comments are gonna get buried. So I'm gonna apologize
ahead of time.
But we
are kind of getting a lot of comments.
We're gonna do our best. We promise.
So, well, maybe since it's like a RC-related episode, you might have to take the lead, and then I can come take some of this other stuff.
So I might be doing some, and some interrupting. So.
Yeah, we'll be crisscrossing back and forth. But I think it'll be cool because a lot of this stuff I might not be able to answer, and you'll be able to.
Sure.
One of the other things that I wanted to talk about was tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock in the morning, a video with you and I doing something on two wheels is going to be released on our YouTube channel.
Can't wait.
So
did you get it clipped out good so it wasn't like $700?
No, check it out. So you can upload videos that are longer than 10 minutes on Instagram now.
Oh, good.
So we didn't have to worry about it.
Because we kind of needed it. It was good content.
So I got to keep all your jokes and everything.
Great.
So we have Casey and I went and did an e-mountain bike ride. It was really cool. Casey lined it up with the guys at Broadway Bicycles, Scott and the other guys there.
Yep.
And
Tim and Bruce. And, thanks, guys.
That was super, super cool, man. And I put in the title of it or whatever, the smiles from ear to ear, like what you were saying.
Yep.
Dude, I had a smile on my face the whole freaking time.
Yeah, you were awesome. That was great. It was good to see you out.
It was really cool. And, like, we talked about it a little bit, too. The e-mountain bikes are like, all the hardcore guys are going to be like, oh, dude, those are so gay.
Yeah, I hate you. Get out of here.
I tell you what, man, for somebody like me that can't pedal and get all the torque out of a regular bike, it was like the most liberating, awesome feeling to be able to go out on those trails and not have to worry about making it up some of those hills.
Agreed. They definitely have their place.
Dude, they really do. So I was pumped, man. So I can't wait to see if there's an option for me to get one of these days.
It'll be awesome.
So it'll be super cool. And thank you so much to the guys at Broadway Bikes, dude. Those guys kick ass for being able to get me out there and do that. So, like I said, tomorrow on our YouTube channel, there's going to be a video that's being released with Casey and I having a good time. So it was pretty cool. And, your camera worked pretty dang good, too, with that gimbal.
Yeah, that was nice and smooth.
It really was.
I think I had something going on with the resolution, maybe though.
Yeah, and when you dropped off that big old cliff, it like rattled your camera all hard.
Yeah, I went upside down. I hit it. Yep.
What were you leaning off the back of the bike all hard?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. So yeah, you guys will definitely have to check that out. Get us some numbers on that YouTube video so we can get that bad boy up and get some promotion out of it.
Yep, and help us say thanks to our buddies at Broadway Bikes for helping us out.
And since we can post it on Instagram, I'll probably post it on Instagram maybe Wednesday or something too. So that was super fun. So I'm so glad that we got to be able to try that out. Well, so is your buddy Alvin going to call back in?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So I'm pretty stoked to be able to talk to Drake because, well, first of all, he's just an awesome dude. But I got to go RC car racing on Saturday.
That's right.
Yeah, so that was pretty fun.
Awesome.
Looks like we got Alvin calling in right now, so we'll get Alvin on the phone. Alvin, what's going down, dude?
What's happening? How you doing?
Good, bro. How are you?
Hey, buddy. It's been a while.
All right, I'm all right. Hanging in there.
I can't wait for this. So I know you have some awesome things to share with Adam, and since we don't have like 12 hours, I know you're going to give me the best 15 minutes of our life right now.
Man, listen, everybody think that dude's all about business, which he is when it comes to RC, because we all know he's the godfather of this. You know,
Yep.
Not taking anything from other greats like, Brian Kinwald and Masami and, the old school, But
Yep, absolutely.
Adam's a joker. He's definitely a joker.
I know. I don't think a lot of people know that side of him because, like you said, he is so business. In fact, sometimes you can't tell. He's so serious when he's pranking you that you don't know that he's kidding around, right?
He's got steel face.
He does.
That's cool. But
poker face.
Yeah, he is an awesome dude though, for sure. I want to hear some stories though, like some fun stuff. Man.
I know for sure that Alvin's got some good ones, and I'm sure they're on deck. I can't wait, buddy.
What kind of stuff have you been doing with Drake that's so awesome that we want to hear about? Is Alvin still
Say
there?
that again. I'm sorry.
Can you hear us, Alvin?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm in my car because it's kind of loud in the house with the kids.
Oh, okay. With your coworkers these days?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the kids. I'm at home. I'm off today, so I'm just trying to put it on the my Bluetooth.
Oh, right on.
Hold on one second.
So, I'm sure you got some pretty fun stories with Drake, huh?
Yeah, man. Like, Mugen Challenge, for instance. I get to LC. I'm always like, and when I get to the hotel, it's like I'm sitting there and I'm waiting around. I'm in the room, and I'm sitting there and I get in the room and I'm waiting, and I get a call from the front desk, and the lady says to me on the phone, she was like, "Mr. Crowder." I'm like, "Yes." She's like, "You have a visitor," and I'm like, "A visitor?" I'm like, "A visitor who?" She's like, "Mike," and I was like, "Mike who?" And I can't say it on the radio, so you guys don't know. You guys want to beep it out. He's like, my nuts. I'm like, that has to be Adam. I said, he's got to be here now. So I walk downstairs, and who's sitting at the front desk laughing is like Adam. I'm like, wow, really? How much did you pay the lady at the front desk at the hotel to say that one?
Right.
So. But it's like, in all seriousness, is like, I can remember when Adam put me on a team, and I don't think it was just a real funny story too, because when I met Adam, I was driving for Kyosho, and my car was really dialed in, but I was, I'm not a paid driver like that or anything like that. I'm a guy that's, into the hobby because I love it. I love the, camaraderie against around with everybody. We all have a good time.
Right.
But for some reason, Adam came to Massachusetts, and because he flew to Massachusetts, I had to eat a freaking spoonful of dirt. And what happened was the owners of RC Excitement, Todd Anderson and Chrissy Anderson, they was like, "Oh, guess what we got coming to RC Excitement for the East Coast, the the TLR challenge. And I'm like, who's that? And they was like Adam Drake. I'm like, Adam Drake is not coming all the way to Massachusetts to race on this track. No way, no how, is not happening. They said, yeah, you serious? I was like, yeah, I know I'm serious. So I said, I bet you I'll eat dirt if Adam Drake shows up at this track. And I was talking seriously, and I wasn't trying to be funny. I was dead serious. So I guess a few weeks later, Adam not only showed up, but he also brought Rhonda Drake with him, his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you guys right now, I know all you guys, including myself, have ridden dirt bikes. We all used to race dirt bikes. And it's a difference when you have a get off on the dirt bike or mountain bike and you get dirt in your mouth. But when you voluntarily have to shove dirt in your freaking mouth and it's spoon fed to you by Adam Drake, it doesn't taste good at all.
He spoon fed it to you.
Doesn't taste good at all. Yeah, man. And it's like for 2 days, I'm like, I had dirt in my mouth.
Was it wet
2
at
days.
least, or was it dry?
I just hope it was from a part of the track that the marshals weren't like spitting on and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just hope it was like from the other side of the track where it's really never being bothered, because it was legit. It wasn't no stage dirt. It was dirt straight off of the track at RC Excitement in Fitchburg, Mass.
Dude, that's funny.
You know?
So
there's pictures of it. There's video.
Some of the guys are saying that the feed is frozen on Facebook. It looks like we got a storm here in Arizona, so it looks like the internet connection in the studio might be a little bit slow, but it looks like YouTube is still working really good. So if you guys don't have any video but you have audio, then jump over to YouTube and check it out through YouTube, because it'll be a little bit easier for you guys to comment if Facebook is still messing up. Otherwise, it looks like you guys' comments are still coming in, and it looks like we can still see most of the stuff happening on Facebook, but if you do have some feed issues, just jump over to YouTube. So how much dirt did you actually have to eat? Was it actually a spoonful?
Dude, I would think Adam would like literally like put a little bit of dirt on the spoon. You know what I mean? No, this dude literally piled this thing up like he was building a track.
Like he was building the track.
And it was like
he was eating chocolate chip cookie dough?
Dude, it was like, you know the little pudding cups that you got when you was a kid?
Yeah.
And it was like you put as much as you can on the spoon and shove it in your mouth. That's exactly what he did.
Just in case you only get one spoonful.
It was a big, huge spoonful. None of it fell off either. Go figures.
Bill, you can search for the Dirt Life Show on YouTube, or you can also go to thedirtlifeshow.com and click on the YouTube button there.
Alvin, how about everybody knows, well, not everybody, not our audience won't know the steamroller story.
What's the steamroller story? I want to hear that. It sounds like a good story.
The steamroller story.
I think it is.
This is the thing. See, Adam's a big instigator too. Love the guy to death, but Adam's a big instigator. So we were at the Barnstormers up in Chester, New York. It was for the New York Challenge. It was one of these races, the Mugen Challenge, one of the Mugen races or something like that. I forget exactly what race it was, but Adam always comes every year. So it's Adam. He brings Cole Ogden with him. Aaron Waldron from, that guy from Live RC. Our ex-guy, Aaron Waldron from Live RC.
Oh, boy.
Lerone Hearn, his sidekick, Lerone Hearn, and a slew full of other people. Just like everybody's there. Guys from Connecticut, guys from New York. I'm the only one there from Boston, Mass. There was a bunch of guys there. And we was practicing. It was Friday practice. And when I tell you my car was dialed in, my Mugen was dialed. I loved my practice car. Then I have my race car back at the hotel. So I'm out there practicing. Everything's feeling good. It starts raining outside. So I'm like, I don't care. Let's just run this whole rest of this tank out. So we're out there, we're running. And it's not muddy, but it was just enough, it was just enough wetness to get your car really dirty and muddy, actually. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
but it was still good conditions, though?
Yeah, the conditions were awesome. It was on the, on some small pin tires after that, and it was really good. So the car is muddy, of course, it's racing. So, we're out there practicing, and I finished my tank, and it didn't look as bad as it was when I took my body off and everything, and I looked at the car, suspension arms are caked up. Everything is just a mess. So I'm like, all right, well, it's only practice, so let me take this thing inside and start banging away on it. Pull the clips off, front and rear clips, pull the diff out, everything, and clean up everything.
Kill.
I spent about an hour. Yeah, I spent about an hour and a half cleaning the car, spotless, mint condition, straight out of the box. And then Adam comes up to me and he was like, "Oh, that car looks pretty clean now." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm on your maintenance routine. I mean, I may not be the fastest guy on the track all the time, but if I do win with the fastest guys, it's because something grenaded off their car and my shit stayed together. You know what I'm saying? So I'm on your maintenance routine, so of course I'm going to keep my car clean and fresh. And I don't mean just keeping it clean by wiping off. I pulled the hinges up, pins out, everything. You know what I'm saying? Bearings cleaned, everything.
Full rebuild.
So he said, yeah, full rebuild. So he pulls out $100. He's like, "Hey, I bet you won't run that car in the rain for $100." So I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, well, my practice car is dialed. My race car is pretty new, so it hasn't fully broken in. But qualifying tomorrow, I say $100 from Adam Drake, that's easy money. I ran in the rain before anyway. I'm like, yeah, shit. I'm like, all right. So then I say, okay, and then here comes his boy, Lerone Hearn. So I'll get in on this. So I'm looking at him like, you're from California. What do you know about the rain? So we go out there. We're running in the rain. The live RC guy had to put his cameras away because of the rain, so he can't stream it. Everybody's on Facebook watching it live because Cole Ogden, he's another instigator. He wanted to put it on his live on Facebook. So make a long story short, we're running laps now. We start running laps. Filled up the tanks. We're running laps. I'm stretching on Lerone Hearn. He catches back up to me. We have a couple of bobbles. Now the track is getting really slimy because, the rain and the surface is getting real gooey now. So, we're slipping and sliding all over the place. We're playing it safe. And then pretty much Rohan wanted to take advantage of the track being soft. So what he did was he chewed up on the straightaway. Right before the straightaway, there was a curve. And right after this corner onto the straightaway, before the straightaway, the corner got really choppy. So he wanted to chop that up, tamp it and then smooth it down, make it nice and smooth.
Get it all cleaned up for tomorrow.
So he does that. Yeah, so it'd be pretty nice for tomorrow. So as he's doing that, me and Lerone, we're still running laps out here. Guys are in the driver's stand, guys looking around like, oh, man, who's going to win this race? Who's going to survive? And, I'm stretching on Lerone again. And the tarp comes out. I see them putting the tarp down. And then I see a steamroller coming out of the corner of my eye.
Oh, shit.
And I'm not worried about it. I'm like, whatever. So Rohan's getting the steamroller out, and he's obviously put the tarp down so, he can flatten everything out so it doesn't get stuck to the roller wheels. And you can hear Adam Drake say something like, somebody's going to get steamrolled. And literally, karma hit exactly probably 30 seconds after he said that. After I come over this triple, over this tabletop, and I come back over the back double, back onto the front. The road's in front of me because I had crashed. And Pete Martinez, one of the guys out there that was marshalling, he throws my car down in front of Lerone. I shoot past Lerone, and in the same corner. Now we're on top of this blue tarp, and I gun it to pass him. As I gunned it, my car completely slid sideways,
like ice racing,
parked
right?
itself. Yeah, exactly. Parks itself perfectly in between the two rollers. Okay? And Rohan had no idea that my car was under his rollers because it's got stuck. The roller got stuck, so he's like, backwards, forward, backwards, forward. And I'm like, my facial expression was like, I know that did not just happen. That ain't just happened. Everybody's laughing. I'm sitting there ready to cry because I'm like, my car.
And it was all good, too, like the best it's ridden.
Like, dude, the car was still running. The engine's still running. I'm like, oh, my God. So I'm thinking like a 5-ton steamroller, 9-pound nitro car. It's over.
Right.
It's dead. And this thing literally was still fired up. Jeff Kaufman, he runs over, grabs the car. He throws the car back down, and I'm taking off. But I noticed that my front end was slammed down, all the way because the only thing that happened was a broken shock and the broken shock tower. That was completely it. That was it. The only thing. Completely ran over by a 5-ton roller. So I just want to let guys know, if you're looking for quality in the RC car, go with the Mugen Seiki because if anything else was under a roller, it would have been a wrap.
I can just see
It would have been a wrap.
I can just see Adam's face, though. He's like, well, these guys are out there being, like, cool guys or whatever, driving in the rain. Adam's just like, somebody's going to get steamrolled.
Yeah.
Totally. Oh, yeah, he got a big kick out of it.
Like the Terminator.
Somebody called us Dumb and Dumber. All kind of. I was like, wow, really? I'm glad. So the steamroller jokes came afterwards. Like, the whole meme war was just, people were just destroying me. But, you know, I got a tough show. I loved it. It was cool, but I can tell you one thing like this. That whole week, Mugen stock went up 60% because everybody was getting Mugens after that.
But did you?
You know what I'm saying?
But did you get a $100 bill?
No. Lerone got the $100.
Oh,
and then he's going to offer me 20. After Lerone gets the $100, he's laughing at me. And then he asks me, hey, I'll give you $20 to clean my car.
Oh.
I'm like, really?
Lerone, that was not hashtag real decent.
Dude,
no, that definitely was not real decent. So I'm gonna tell you guys like this. I've been through some hell with Lerone Hearn and Adam Drake. Okay, so another incident at LCRC in Pennsylvania during the Mugen Challenge. Somebody knocks on my door. Now Cole Ogden's in the room with me, and we're just hanging out laughing. But I know it's Cole's on his phone, but I don't know what he's doing on his phone. But somebody knocks on the door, so I go answer the door. I opened the door, and my room was completely flooded with water.
Oh,
because Adam Drake decided he wanted to take a 10-gallon trash can, fill it with water, lean it against my door. So when I opened it,
gotta be kidding me.
So exactly. Awesome. So I'm like, holy shit! I'm like, you guys are crazy. Cole's laughing. I got a brand new pair of Air Maxes on that I had just bought. Those got soaked. I'm trying to jump around so I don't get my sneakers wet. And I'm like, it scared me because I was like, holy shit, terrorist attack. You know what I'm saying? I thought somebody threw some chemicals or some shit in my room. So I didn't know what it was. It scared me. So I'm like, and Cole's laughing. I'm like, and everybody knows Cole Ogden. He's from Georgia. So he has the most annoying laugh ever. You know? So I'm sitting there looking at him like, really? And then I open the door again, and Adam's in the corner, like, cracking up. Well, he wasn't really cracking up. He just had that look on his face like, got him.
Smart Alex.
You know, so I'm like, wow, okay.
So that's cool. That was the water bucket story. We got it, Rhonda.
The water bucket story.
Thanks.
But I got two more short stories that I want to tell you guys, and these are probably gonna have you guys on the floor. The first one is, you know, the first time that I actually pitted for Adam was at MMRC on Long Island, New York.
It's a stressful thing, isn't it?
Pitting for Adam.
No, this is the thing, because I hear, like, Adam's a precisionist, you know what I mean? Everything's perfect with Adam, you know what I'm saying? Like, from, you know, when he's pitting, you know, he swings his stopwatch around to the back of his neck so nothing gets caught up in your axle or your wheel. Yep. So I learned a lot from him. So when he asked me, he said, hey, Alvin, you want to do me a favor? I said, what's up? He was like, you want to pit my main for me? I said, me? Me pit your main?
Steamroller?
Me pit Adam Drake's main. So I'm like, sure. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, he pitted me, you know, and I said, sure, I'll pit you. So now I run back to my pit area. I sit down. I crack open a Pepsi. I'm drinking a Pepsi. And I'm sitting there, like, nervous, like, oh, my God, I'm pitting for Adam Drake. This dude is like, you know, he's serious about this. Is what he does for a living. I cannot mess this up. I have to be focused. You know, I got to make sure that when he tells me he's coming in, he's coming in. I got to make sure I keep an eye on the stopwatch. Everything's perfect. Now comes the main.
No pressure, though.
Adam's on the board. He's on the block. I've got him on the block. I throw him down so we go up there practice. I'm making sure I got my fuel bottle full. I got my secondary fuel bottle full. I got my
This is
my
the most prepared
my
Alvin's
fuel
ever been
gun.
in his whole life.
Yep.
Dude, this is the most prepared I've ever been. I'm not pitting for Jay Bless. I'm not pitting for somebody, you know what I'm saying? I'm pitting for Adam Drake, man. I'm like, holy shit, I'm pitting for Adam Drake. This is my time to shine. So everybody's like, dude, you're pitting for Adam. You better not mess up. You better not mess up. Nah. I'm like, I got this. So mind you, now the race starts. Down and quiet comes. I put him down. He takes off. I'm like, great. I run back to the pit area, you know, to pit lane. I put everything down. I make sure the time clock was started. I'm sitting there. I'm not nervous. I got butterflies. I look up at Adam, make sure he's cool. I'm looking at his car. I'm looking at everything. Everything's set up. Glow plug in my left pocket. Glow plug igniter in my right pocket. Glow plug igniter in front of me. You know,
There's
everything
a lot of stuff to think about.
perfect.
Yeah. Yep.
Exactly, man. Like, I wanted to be ready, starter box on deck and just in case of a flame out, but I wasn't really worried about
I got French fries in my pocket just in case he gets hungry. We're good.
Exactly. So now I'm sitting there. Now, Adam was like, Ray, I want you to bring me in at 8:30. I'm like, I got you, 8:30
p.m.
So I'm like, okay, 8:30. I look at the clock. It's 7 minutes and like 20 seconds or so. So I take a deep breath. I'm looking at Adam. I'm looking at his car. I'm looking at my pit area. Everything's set up. Adam's coming in on the next lap. It's very, very stressful down there. Guys are yelling. I got this. I'm cool. I got it. Adam Drake's going to come in. We're going to get the fastest pit stop ever, right? I got the fuel bottle, got the fuel gun in my hand. Adam's coming around the last 2 corners. And I'm like, here it go. It's make it or break it, baby.
It's go time.
Adam Drake's coming in. And Ray Crowder, myself, I'm pitting for Adam Drake. Adam's coming into pit lane, and what does he do? Push the car completely sideways and gets it stuck on the ramp. And I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, how that? And you crash coming into pit lane? Right? So I go grab his car. So I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, oh, well, he crashed, so fuck it. I don't need to. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
He crashed, so screw it. I don't need to, really, now, the whole protocol is thrown out the window.
Right.
But I'm like, oh, shit, he's still pitting. You know what I'm saying? Let me get I grab the car, throw it down. I'm putting fuel in it. I'm shaking like an old man. And I pull the car back down. He takes off. And I was so hot. I was so sweaty. And it just made, dude, I was so hurt.
Can
I was
you imagine
so hot.
seeing this in person?
I can because I've lived the emotions that he's
Dude, you guys
feeling.
had to picture this.
Yeah,
You guys
totally.
had to picture this.
I totally
You guys
can.
had to picture this. It was so crazy. But after that pit stop, everything went smooth, man, and it was cool. And I really enjoyed it. It was fun. It was exciting. And it made me look at things like, wow, everybody makes mistakes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But at least it wasn't my fault. It wasn't like I grabbed his car and hit his flywheel or something or got the glow plug igniter stuck on the top of his engine head like I've done Jay Bless before. But anyways.
That's hilarious to hear that story, though, because how, Alvin was, under so much pressure, right?
Yeah, he made his own pressure.
But Drake was the one that choked.
Yeah.
He was the one that choked. Exactly. But it's just one more thing. But you guys, everybody knows my brother Jay Bless from New York. He's a hell of a driver. He's been with TLR for a long time, and Adam and Bless were racing. This is a big race up in New York, once again at Chester, New York. And it was like Ryan Lutz or something. Adam ran out of fuel a couple of times because he had a pit guy that kind of was not filling his tank all the way up. So, but Bless ended up getting in front of Adam. And it was crazy because, Bless is a pretty good driver, but, Adam drives, and then it's like when he gets under pressure or he's falling back, I don't know where Adam gets it, but he has you think Adam's driving at 100%.
Next level.
Yep.
Yes, when you think he's driving at 100, it's like he drives at 120.
Right.
Where did he get it from? So
right up
I'm
the
pitting
sleeve.
for Jay Bless. This other guy, Johnny Blaze, is pitting for Adam. Right? So I'm on top of the game right now. I'm pitting for my brother. I want my brother to do well. I'm hearing Rohan announce everything over the loudspeaker. Jay Bless is now in second place behind Adam Drake. I'm sorry, in third place behind Adam Drake. So it's crazy because I'm like, wow, Bless is really catching up to Adam. And then all of a sudden, I don't know where the pass happened. I know Adam ran out of fuel once or twice in that race, but Bless was being chased down by Adam now for the third spot. Okay? And now you got Adam in fourth and Bless in third. You don't want Adam behind you because now you got Adam Drake behind you.
Yep,
this dude is not coming all the way from California to get beat by Jay Bless. Okay, it's not happening. I'm stressing out, and I'm not even driving. Bless is driving. I look back at Jay. I look back at Bless, and his bottom lip is hanging so far because he's concentrating so hard. And I can imagine how he feels. He got the Drake behind him, chasing him down for that podium spot.
Yeah.
Ryan Lutz was dipset. Ryan Lutz had 20 seconds on, Alex K and Bless, Now Drake's chasing Bless down, so you know the pressure that Bless was feeling. So all of a sudden, Bless starts yelling stuff down to me. He's like, Ray, what time is it? I'm like, just keep driving. I got you. All right.
He's all worried.
He was like, Ray, when am I going to pit? Keep driving. I'll call you. You got a few more laps, 3 more minutes. Just keep driving. Stop tripling. Stop doing that jump. Stop whipping and nay-naying off that jump. And he's like, get aggravated because he thinks I'm making jokes. I'm not. I really want him to focus.
Right.
Because one mistake, it's over. Adam's going to pass him, and it's over. This is Bless's big moment. My big moment, too, because I'm pitting for him.
Right.
Right? The funniest thing that you guys are going to laugh at right now is when Bless said to me, he said, Ray, where's Adam at? I said, he's standing right next to you. He's like, no, stupid, where's he at on the track? I'm like, oh, he's like, I don't know, 5 or 6 seconds behind you.
He's standing right next to you. I
so
love
Bless is getting so mad at me. He's getting so mad at me because him and Adam was standing together on the driver's stand. So when he asked me, he was like, Ray, where's Adam at? So I was like, what do you mean? He's standing next to you. And I really didn't mean to say it like that. I was just so nervous for him. You know what I mean?
Right.
But Bless actually did good. He hacked his way to a third
thanks,
place.
Hacked his way. Bless always Bless always been a good driver for sure. He's awesome.
Hell yeah, man. That's my brother, man. I love him to death, man. You know, it's like I learned a lot from Bless. You know, Bless plays around, I play around, but one thing I can say about Jay is like, you know, he can be aggravating at times, but you know, he's a real good dude. You know, he's a real good dude. I consider myself, him, you know, Adam, and the whole guy, all the, you know, Rohan, the whole crew up in New York, man. We're all family. When Adam comes, we're all family. You know, Adam Drake is the only dude that I know that can walk through the Bronx with a Mucus safety shirt on, and well, nobody bother him. You know what I'm saying? So
the best part about those stories, though, is like when hearing him talk is like he didn't once mention results. He didn't once mention like
it's just
crazy.
Been
It's like what you actually remember. Like we always talk about on the Dirt Life is that like you remember those individual stories and the good times that you had, or like a really good race, or you know, like when you came from behind, even if you didn't win and stuff like that. Like those are so cool to have all those memories.
And what's so cool about racing too is it brings so many different people from different parts of everywhere and different backgrounds together to be buddies, right, Alvin? I mean, who
would
would
think,
have thought, right?
think that racing RC cars, you go all the way across the country?
Right, exactly. Totally.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, you know, you got so many guys out here that are just awesome drivers, man, that, you know, they're so underground, you know, and it's like, you know, like I said, I would never take anything away from the old school legend guys. You know, you got Saxton, you got God rest his soul, man. You got Brian Kenwald.
Yep.
You know, you got guys like Masama. You got Drake. You know, you got all these great guys. But to me, Adam, I believe, was one of the biggest icons in RC because he's so involved and he saved a lot of people.
Totally.
Yeah. What I mean by he saved a lot of people, like I'm gonna tell you guys like this. Like I said, I'm not the fastest driver out here. There's a lot of fast guys, and Adam saw something in me that, you know, like I was saying, I was driving for Kyosho at the time, and Adam straight up looked at me and was like, "Hey." I drove his car, and his car was awesome. I loved it. You know what I mean? So he literally gave me one of his TLR shirts. I wore his TLR shirt at the race, driving the Kyosho car. And then when he got back to California and did some things, we talked, we emailed a couple of times, and he ended up sending me a contract to be on a part of one of the most prestigious teams at the time, which was TLR. And I was so happy and proud of it because now I'm like, oh, cool, man. You know, I'm part of this. I'm part of being on a team that I always looked up to my brother, Bless, that he's been on, you know, great guys like Steve Plakis, you know what I mean? That races TLR on the East Coast too, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
So it's like, you know, I was really happy to be Mazzara. I was happy to be a part of that, and I wanted to learn. I just didn't want to be one of those guys.
For you. Mm-hmm. When you got started getting up the ranks and working your way up that too.
Right.
That's so cool.
Yeah. It was because I learned a lot from him. You know what I mean? It's not like I called Adam every night. Hey, Adam, what weight oil am I putting in my diffs and this and that? No, I just learned the car. I'm a mechanic by trade. I fix buses. So it's like the RC car thing is really helped me out in my job, and my job has really helped me out when it comes to RC, because you have to be mechanically inclined to get your stuff perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
And
in all racing.
And like I said, there's so much more to Drake, because he's not just a racer. He's a developer. He's an engineer. He's a husband. He's a father to his dogs. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's more to Drake. And Adam's very modest. He's very shy at times. But don't get it twisted. He'll have your hotel room. He'll have your hotel room smelling like a dirty sock because the water hasn't flooded it. And by the way, when we was at the track the day after that, I guess the lady that goes in to clean up your hotel room, she reported it. She said the floor is wet and it's all over the place. So they called my phone. Yeah, they called my phone. So Cole Auger answered my phone. I was out on the track practicing. And Cole comes back. He says, "Hey, Alvin, the hotel called and said something about you need to call him because something's going on with the room." So I'm like, "Holy shit, this room, I'm going to have to pay this thing. Thanks, Adam." Right? So I call the hotel, and they're like, "Mr. Crowder," I'm like, "Yes." They were like, "We are so sorry. The maid came in to clean, and we must have had a bad leak from the toilet or something, and blah, blah, blah." So I got all my stuff, and they were, "Is it okay we move?" I said, No. Don't move none of my stuff, please. I don't want to be on the third floor, because they was going to put me on the third floor. Right. Now, anybody that races RC at travels, you want to be lugging your shit up and down the stairs every night. You know what I'm saying?
Motocrossers too.
No, it's okay. Yeah, exactly. So it's okay, you know what I mean? So what happened was, the manager kept apologizing. He said, "I'm so sorry that it stunk. It smelled bad in there. It smelled like inner tube air." You guys know what inner tube air smell like?
Yeah, I kind of want to throw up right now.
Sure do.
Exactly. So,
did you get a rebate?
Deal that I got.
Did you get a deal? Get a refund?
No, I got it better than that. So the manager's talking to me, and he's saying, "Hey, so this big race that you guys do every year up here, it's a big prestigious thing." I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "Listen, man, I'm really sorry about the flood we had." I'm like, "No problem." But in my head, I'm like, Adam Drake is being back. You know what I'm saying? So what he did, he says, "Are you coming to this race next year?" I said, "Yes, I am." He gives me his card. He writes his cell phone number on it, and he says, "When you come next year, I'm going to give you your room for free for the whole weekend."
Dang, sweet.
So I'm like, talk about a paid driver. Thank you, Mugen and Adam Drake. So I was like, cool. So the following year I went, I had a free room for a whole weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Dude, that's awesome.
You know what I mean?
Just have Adam go spill water in there every year.
Right.
Exactly. I told you, Adam works miracles, man. I'm telling you. Dude works miracles.
Not only is he an RC genius, he's also good at squeaking the hotel system.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Alvin, hey, we got a Mike Tree calling in right now, so we'll let you go, dude. Like, I'm already crying because these freaking stories, dude.
Listen, listen, Mike Truey is my second favorite guy, because Mike Truey has to get his ass out here and race with us. And me and Mike talked. So, Mike, after this whole COVID-19 thing, if it's not this year, next year, bring your ass up to Rohan's track in Chester, New York, all right?
Yeah, and bring a bucket, too, so you can put water in Alvin's room.
I'm sure he heard you, but we'll tell him. We'll remind him.
Exactly.
Oh, those are awesome stories. I would really appreciate. We could end the show right here, and I'm already just laughing. I don't know if I can laugh anymore because I got so much left.
I don't know, man. You guys might need 2 or 3 episodes with me, because I got a lot of stuff to happen.
Thanks, homie. We really appreciate you giving us a buzz.
No, I appreciate you guys getting in contact with me and reaching out, man, and having me as a guest on the show. I really appreciate it. It was fun. Let's do it again.
Heck yeah, buddy. Appreciate it.
Sounds good, Alvin. Thanks so much, bro.
Take it easy.
See you, buddy. Have a good one.
All right, man.
Have a good night.
You too.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Dude, I was laughing so hard.
Look, Carl says, "I hope Adam floods my room sometime."
I know, right? That sounds kind of weird, but yeah.
Yeah. We know what you mean.
Dude, like, my eyes, since I got in that accident a year ago, haven't watered this much, and like, I don't even know. I just have to call Alvin for therapy, dude.
Yeah, totally.
Freaking stories.
Alvin therapy. I love it.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. And again, not one thing in his conversation was about racing and results or anything like that.
It was
all it was about the
fun
stories
times and
the good times. Yeah.
Totally.
So I think we got Mike Tree on the line. Mike, are you there?
Yeah, how's it going, guys?
Mike, what's up, buddy?
How's it going, Casey?
Doing good, doing good. Boy, we were on the floor laughing with Alvin.
Yeah, always doing that with Alvin.
Definitely to be expected.
It's so funny, man. He's got some pretty good stories. I can only imagine some of the stories that you guys have. Well, and Drake said that story about you with the dirt last time, too.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That's the other thing about Adam. He's got the memory of like I don't know, something. An elephant. Isn't that what they say?
the memory that I don't have.
Yeah, right.
What have you been up to, Mike?
Not much, just working and recovering.
Right on, man. You still were you up in Phoenix? Casey was saying, yeah.
Yeah, Mike lives in Phoenix.
Living in Chandler.
Chandler, that's right.
Shoot, man, I went up to what's the place called? Hobby Action. I went up there on Saturday. That was pretty fun. It's the first time I've RC'd in like I don't know 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I'm about 10 minutes from there. Would be the local indoor track for sure.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. Yeah, I mean, like you guys are all talking about nitro stuff, but I only do short course, so I'm hardcore.
Yeah. So plenty of years with Adam with you as well, Mike. I'm sure you've got some good ones. What?
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
No, so yeah, we go way back. That's for sure.
Did you guys start RCing about the same time, or was he quite a bit ahead of you?
I mean, I started racing in '99, so 21 years ago now, and then started racing. I'd say I probably started racing with Adam, seeing him at races in early 2000s.
Was he already doing pretty good at that time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely, I think, I would say ahead in the ranks. I would say he got up there a little before me. Like I said, I kind of got into it knowing nothing, and then kind of rose the ranks fairly quickly, I guess you could say, in terms of years.
Mm-hmm.
So
agreed.
I wasn't very knowledgeable of what was happening before, say 2000. It was something I kind of got into it kind of blind. I did a lot of the airplanes and helicopters and stuff before cars, and then worked at a hobby shop, and
when did you
someone
start
there was like,
racing,
let's go race cars.
About the same time as Mike, actually. And yeah, Rhonda just reminded us Adam's been racing 30 years now.
That's pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
And he started on dirt bikes and stuff too.
Yep.
Well, we'll get into Adam's story when we start talking with him. But so you started racing RC cars around the same time as Mike Trudy did?
Mike, yeah, about the same time, about 2000.
Oh, okay. And so back then, like, I guess it was kind of for you and Mike, it was probably like School of Hard Knocks, just trying to figure everything out yourselves, right? Cause
I would bet Mike would agree, though. You find those guys, at the local track that are, the guys that are doing it. You know what I mean? They're ahead of the curve, and if they take you under their wing and let you learn from them, it can go pretty quick, right, Mike? Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I was definitely a protege of Brian for sure.
Right. Yep.
I went down at SoCal Raceway in Southern California and down there 4, 5, 6 days a week, and basically just living, eating, breathing it.
Right. Well, and it obviously
that
takes
was huge.
It takes a lot of hard work on your side too, though. Both ways.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it was just, and doing it there, racing, 3 days a week, club racing, and you're against, Brian and Hodap and Brian Dunbar and all those guys. It's like racing the Nationals 3 days a week.
Yeah, and it's very similar for motocross for us. That's the same thing we did. Is we wanted to up the skills a little bit. So you think you're good in your area, and then you go to California, which is the hotbed for like pretty much every racing. It seems like.
Waxed.
You can get waxed, and then it's a pretty quick learning curve.
It really is, and that's cool though that you can do the same kind of thing in dirt bike racing where you find somebody good and you ride with them and stuff. Like I was telling you on your episode, like I was blessed because I had you to look up to the whole time, and you were always faster, so I could have somebody to chase and catch up. And it sounds like Adam did a little bit of that for both you and Mike.
Yeah, I think Adam's helped tons of people along the way. I mean, I don't know if you could even count them. It's
He helped me by looking at me like I was doing something funny with the short course truck.
Yeah, he did. How's it going, Tyrone? Tyrone says, "What's up, Truly?"
Hey, what's up?
That's pretty cool, though, man. So, like, when you first got into RC car racing, was Adam around a lot, or was it just like mostly Brian Kinwald and a few of those other guys?
For me in the beginning, it was mostly Brian, and then I'd say early to mid 2000s is when I started working a lot and getting sponsored by Losi, and obviously once that happened, we're all on the same team and working together. And then when I started getting into the Nitro program, it's probably 2004, 2005 is when I started racing the gas truck, and Losi started developing their race scale, and I actually ran another car. I ran an X-ray car for a year or two before, just to learn the ropes of A scale.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
And back in those days, it was I didn't know the first thing really about nitro, so it's definitely you look to him and how do you set your slicker, how do you do the clutch, how do you kind of learn all the tricks and trades of gas. And he was definitely a big influence in that.
So the Southern California scene was definitely different than the Arizona scene, like when you started, huh?
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah, so to put it into our terms, we'd have maybe 10 people in the whole state that were racing nitro off-road, and in California there would be 10 heats of it.
Oh, I got you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like so 10 times as many
yeah,
people.
At least, yep.
That's pretty cool though. And that was that like the heyday, or is it bigger now?
I don't know, Mike. What do you think? I think Rhonda would probably agree that there was definitely a golden age there for a little while, probably 2007 or 8 till about maybe 12 or 13. What do you think?
Yeah, I would say the late 2000s were definitely they were the heyday in my opinion, and also I would say they were my heyday too.
Yeah, right.
So it might be a little biased.
Yeah, it's easy for us to say.
But
right?
I don't know. It's just the races seemed more prestigious. More, you showed up to the race and it was kind of more awe to it than
right
there is now. I mean, a lot of the races now they do very good and they put on a good show and they have, a good track, good. The presentation of the area is good, but just the race itself, I think back then it was more exciting for the fans, more exciting for the people to watch. And
right.
I don't know. Maybe, like I said, maybe a biased opinion, and maybe because it was still newer to me, but I definitely think that would be my
biased opinion is when all you guys had short course 4 SCTEs. Like that was my favorite.
You were pretty pumped on that.
Yeah, I didn't even care about anything else. I just go watch it. Then I'd be like, "Dang, look how fast your guys' cars go."
Yep. Rhonda says 2003 to 2012.
Dude, that's way too big of a gap.
That's pretty big.
I'd agree.
Yep. And
2003 to 2012, that's huge. It's like almost 10 years.
How's it going, Eric? How you doing,
12.
buddy? Yeah, right.
So
just because that's when the 8 came out, I think the 8 really revolutionized A scale.
Yeah, I would agree. And
I remember you saying something about that.
Yeah. And it brought in Associated too, because it was like a Ford Chevy thing. So it really brought all of the hardcore electric guys into both sides, because now it wasn't such a boutique-y kind of thing, I would say.
Well,
yeah,
so
I would definitely agree with that.
We can ask Adam this too, but maybe you guys can help answer it. So, like, during that time, was there more, like, progress in the development of any of those RC cars than there is nowadays, or than there was previously from that? Because it seemed like to me, because I don't remember the years that I was in it, maybe 08 to 12 or something, but and obviously, like I said, I only raced the short course trucks, but talking to you and hearing the stories that you would say about Mike and Adam and everybody, it was like this huge progression. Just like when side-by-sides came out for the off-road market, it was like 900s and 1000s and turbos and like all this, like, and now it's slowing down.
Yeah, and I would say that was really big around 2008.
And so that progression, like that span that Rhonda's talking about, like at the end of that was really like growth, like
because a couple of those, one platform in particular, the Losi car, definitely changed everything. It was like a whole new idea. Totally, everything was different all of a sudden.
Can you put that in perspective some other?
I can. It's like when everybody was doing the Rhino stuff, and that was the thing. And then all of a sudden, Polaris brings out a real race car that you could actually...
Like the 900?
Yep.
Yeah.
You could pull it off the trailer and race it instead of having to take it to your garage and, put jillions of parts on there to make it race worthy.
That must have been like a game changer for the whole RC industry.
It really was. It was. And I think it still progresses, but not at that rate.
Yeah, same with the side-by-side stuff.
No.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, the Losi car in '08, that was the first car that actually, I would say, had real suspension. Every other car before that, the chassis was suspension.
Yeah, it totally was.
You have any funny
bottomed out of everything?
Oh, Casey can read that comment from Alvin, but
I would agree. I would agree with Rhonda. Rhonda says when only the elite were sponsored, and that's not a knock on anybody, but it's for sure it was a different.
Yeah.
It was a different time. And then Alvin, Mike, this will mean something to both of us, you and I. Crowder says, let's not forget Truey almost won the Worlds in 2008 in Charlotte, North Carolina. Yep.
Oh, I remember that.
Yep, that was dream team for us that time.
I'll never forget that one. Oh, that was great.
What happened?
Car was good.
Why do you say almost though? What happened?
Just a couple of issues. He probably doesn't want to bring it up, but he dominated qualifying. It was really cool. We had a good time.
That's cool, man. Do you have any specific stories about Adam that like happened at any of the races and stuff? Because like when Alvin was talking about it, we didn't even hear anything about results or winning or anything. We just heard a whole bunch of funny stuff.
Yeah, fun times.
Oh, there's lots of stories on track, off track. I mean, like I said, we traveled the world together, and back in those heydays that we're talking about, it was fun. The biggest thing that I enjoyed was you go to the race and it was, you want to call it the dream team or whatever cliche thing you want to say, but we show up and, obviously your goal as a racer is to go and try to win a race. But at the same time, I think both of our mentality was, we both wanted to win, but if we couldn't, we wanted to make sure the other person could.
Yep.
And it was something that we were pretty successful with doing. We'd go to England and race on an AstroTurf track, and, I would struggle in truck, but we'd get Adam to be, fast in truck and win that. And then it would be, vice versa in buggy. And as long as we could walk out of there, bringing home the trophies on the plane back to the United States or, back to California, like that was kind of our mutual goal. And I think, for me, I was pretty much just as pumped to see him win races as I was myself. And that was the fun part of it. And the camaraderie there was definitely high.
One of the things that I remember, like, thinking when I first started talking to you about, like, and you were obviously talking about Truey and Drake and all those guys, but I kept thinking to myself, like, wow, like, this is, like, not just something that people go down to Radio Shack and buy and play with. Like, this is, like, a legitimate, I don't know if you want to call it a sport, but, like, it's a legitimate hobby that people get into. Like Mike just said, like, traveling the world. Like, who would ever think you could travel the world with a radio controlled car? Like that's like,
and be paid to do. I mean, it's real racing. Is a lot of our regular listeners probably get it somewhat, but it's real racing with real setups and real strategies, and
you talk about it all the time, like the things that cross over into real racing. And
100%.
I learned a lot of that from you just playing with RC cars when I first started off-road racing.
Yep, absolutely. Rhonda, don't worry, I'll for sure bring that up. That's my favorite too.
Yeah, man.
Are we talking about the Girl Scouts?
Yeah, we're gonna stop there. Yes. Rental van. Yep.
So, rental van. Okay. That was going to come up here later.
Oh, of course it was. Of course it will. I can't wait.
That couldn't go under the radar.
No, definitely not. Everybody has known something about that at one point or another.
I don't know what the final story was. Was it the format or what was it?
Yeah, right. What? I can't wait.
So some of this stuff we got to be a little bit more descriptive about, because a lot of our listeners don't know anything that you guys are talking about, so we have to be a little bit more specific.
So there's an awesome rental van story, and every this goes along crosses all lines of racing. There's always a rental car story, right? And I'm pretty sure Adam's is the best. So I can't wait.
We'll ask him about that story.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
It'll be great.
Let's let Adam describe the exact events.
Because then you won't get in trouble, Mike.
It's great. I'll never. I'll never forget the phone call.
We'll see exactly. Yeah. I don't know what the true story was. He'll let it out.
Yeah, good, awesome. Well, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Mike. I appreciate you calling, and
yeah, definitely.
It's been good.
Yeah,
it's been a good ride for all of us. That's for sure.
It's super cool to see, to see all you guys or hear all you guys talk and stuff again. I've only been able to maybe sit with you guys all together once or twice at a race, like throughout the years, and it's cool to see, like, it's like bringing the band back together, but like everybody's friends, you know, like
totally.
you could be gone for 20 years and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, you're doing the same. Like,
yeah. Hey,
it's awesome to go back and reminisce on the good times, the good old days.
100%. Mike, give me your comment on this real quick, if you don't mind. Tyrone has a great question. He says, how do drones get on ESPN, but not RC off-road racing or RC racing period?
What drones are on ESPN now?
They are, and I think what they do what they do right is they bring in the that, what do we want to call it, the personal or the human side of it, because you're really watching that person, and then what they're doing is separate.
I see.
Where like when you do real race cars, someone's in a car, and you're kind of living it with them plus the race. Whereas for what we do, everyone's off kind of on a driver's stand, sitting there, or standing there. So it's not. I don't know that you can bring that. Maybe that's the hurdle.
We did it once with one of your short course RC cars. We put a GoPro inside there. It looked like you were driving it.
That was pretty fun.
That was really cool. Yep. That video got a lot of views, too.
It did. It was fun.
That was pretty neat, though, because then you could kind of see, like, and I think I videoed you up on the tower and stuff a little bit. Like, that was a pretty cool deal.
It was cool. What do you think, Mike? Any chance of that?
I don't know. I think the big thing with the drone stuff is they had the money behind it and people to go with it. I truly don't know how much following they have. Like, it's on there, but who actually watches it? Like, I'm into drone racing and I can't watch it.
I had no idea it even existed. So we can next week on Monday we have Jake Ubetta, the drone madman. He's going to be on the show, so we can ask him
for sure. Yep.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an interesting thing there, and I definitely think that RC cars, have a chance, especially with all the stuff going on lately. I mean, how much of this iRacing, all the iRacing on TV and stuff, it's like, I know my girlfriend even sits there and goes like, how am I watching this, but you guys can't get RC cars on TV?
That's a good point. That's a good point right now. I didn't really think about that, but it definitely is a parallel of what's happening right now. So
it might sound stupid, but like everybody's got the same outlook on RC cars, like big guys playing with toy cars. Like so everybody always thinks like, oh, look at how immature that dude is.
But it's funny that okay, I'm not into any iRacers out there. This is not,
it's the same thing.
Yeah, I'm not destroying anybody, but what I am going to say is that in that virtual world, you can do whatever you want with the setup, and for lack of better words, I'm sure it's just programming, right? But this is like a real mechanical skill. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So
there's crossover in both.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I think both are fucking awesome. Like,
it is cool.
I think they're badass.
No doubt, it is cool.
But the perception is what I'm talking about. Like,
drones are not toys? Question mark.
So, like, the perception is just different.
Yeah,
it
is.
So, like, when you think of mom and dad and the family sitting there, and dad goes to buy a drone,
right? That's
not the same as dad going to buy a RC car to play with on the track.
Agreed. And let's face it, Amazon's not delivering.
Yeah.
They don't have aspirations of delivering packages with an RC car, right? But they are trying to do it with drones. So I get it. It's definitely a different, draw, I guess, or exposure.
Dude, that would be so sick, though, if RC cars were on ESPN.
It would.
That would be super cool. Maybe what we'll do, Mike, instead of having RC cars on ESPN, we'll create our own Dirt Life RC car show.
There you go.
There you go.
A league.
Yeah, that way we have our own.
That'll be the way to do it.
I was told today that I needed to think a little bit more outside the box.
There you go. That's pretty far outside.
So, yeah. So we can come with it, and we can have drones filming too. So we'll have both. We'll have the best of both worlds. Stoked that you were able to call in, though, Mike. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys having me on.
Heck yeah, buddy.
All right, man. Well, we're gonna let you go. Feel free to chime in and talk a little bit of crap when Adam comes on too.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be listening.
All right, bud. Thanks. Have a great rest of your night.
All right, you guys as well. Have a good one.
See you, Mike. Take care.
Later. Yeah. That was pretty cool that he called in too, man. It's weird where some of the subjects go, like
it is, right?
Where you actually see things, like, because it's so insane how people think, so much different, and Well, and Alvin's stories are just pretty awesome too.
Yeah. Yep.
So, all right. Well, we're gonna go to commercial break, and we will be right back with Adam Drake. So please stay tuned and get your questions ready. We'll see you guys in a second.
Hello, I'm Justin, the founder of Shock Therapy. Shock Therapy has been around for 5 years, but we have personally been tuning suspension on off-road cars and race vehicles for over 25 years. We tune between 10 and 15 cars per day, every single day of the week. Our concentration is tuning shock systems and supplying components that improve the ride quality of your car in many ways. Not only do we work on the average UTV, but we also tune suspension for race teams and professional drivers. We currently tune for over 87 race teams in Best in the Desert and SCORE. Our clients and race teams rely on our suspension components to allow them to win races and keep them safe. Suspension is a moving target. We are always trying to hit that target with every customer that we work with. Each customer's needs can be different, and we tune our kits accordingly. Our research and development never stops. We improve our components every single day. As the industry evolves and improves, so do our parts and kits. As of right now, we have over 100 products for UTVs. So when you bring your car to us, you have the satisfaction of knowing that you have the most experience, the highest quality products, and the fact that your car is being tuned specifically to you.
Yeah, finally, we got Lance from Solderweld in the studio. Thanks for coming down, bud. Hey, why don't we just record a commercial now?
Yeah, why not? So good to be here, man. It's been a lot. I've been trying to get down here forever, and I wanted to talk about the off-road kit.
Dude, I love those things. I got it in my pack.
Yeah, we're running hundreds of vehicles now running them, whether it's a UTV or some guy's got it in a backpack on his motocross. He's got everything he needs to make a fix right there on the fly, out on the trail, or in the desert, whatever it is.
Well, since I've already used one, I kind of know what to use it for, but explain what it does.
All right, so let's pull one out real quick. You've got your aluminum rods. Remember, they're rods, right? So, light torch, small torch, you can throw it in there or throw it on the rig with your flux. It decontaminates and cleans like let's say a radiator. You get a random rock chip runs through as you're racing. You get a rock chip in a radiator. You got to fix it right there, or you're out of the race.
You can patch it up
You can patch it up. It's all good to go.
Yep, just like welding.
Yeah. Also, as well with that, you've got a brake line fix. So with your flux, you can fix a brake line, stainless steel. And then your hot block, heat absorption putty. So it keeps you from getting burned, number one, as well as keeps the heat from traveling. So it's really nice.
I've used this not even to fix anything, so that stuff works so good, man.
Listen, it's easy. It straps in nicely so that you have everything you need in one little place, and you don't have to carry a big bag in
It's like a first aid kit for your vehicle.
Yeah, chase trucks have it as well, so that if they need to make a fix on the fly, they can get it done and get it done quick and get you back in the race.
Dude, those things are so cool. All right, so it's at Solderweld on Instagram, Facebook, and solderweld.com.
Awesome.
All right, thanks, bud.
Appreciate it.
Zollinger Racing builds the best aftermarket products available. Products for your UTV or snowmobile, including billet radius rods, billet tie rods, billet steering knuckles, billet steering racks, alternator kits, and much more. All manufactured in the United States in-house at their headquarters in Nibley, Utah. Travis Zollinger and his team test in some of the most brutal conditions, racing in places like the Best in the Desert Mint 400, Ultra 4 King of the Hammers, UTV World Championships, and many more.
Visit ZollingerRacingProducts.com and use the code DIRTLIFE to get 10% off your next purchase, and join us on social media at Zollinger Racing Products to see our products in action. Zollinger Racing, the best products, period.
Yeah, we're back. We got our buddy, the Drake, as they call him, Adam Drake. What's up, dude? How are you?
Man.
Good. How about you guys?
We're doing awesome. So for our audience that may or may not know who Adam is a multi-time champion RC car driver. He's on the forefront of the RC car industry. He's been doing a whole bunch of stuff for, what Rhonda said, now 30 years in the RC car industry. So a lot of the stuff that you can credit for us having the awesome RC cars now has been due to him and some other influential people in the RC car world. So we are really, really excited to have our buddy Adam Drake on tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, dude.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Glad to be here, and fan of the show, so pretty cool to actually be on it.
Yeah, and we had some other fans on before, some of your buddies that were saying some pretty funny stuff. I don't know if Rhonda was able to, your wife Rhonda was able to tell you about what they were saying on the comments and on the phone, but it was pretty awesome what Alvin Crowder and Mike True said.
Well,
Alvin's something else.
Dude, he really is. So
you know what I'm super excited about, Adam, is not a lot of people that know what Adam's about. They don't really know all the backstory and all the cool stuff growing up that you did that I'm sure in everybody's mind when they hear it will say that led you to kind of doing what you're doing now. So that stuff's gonna be pretty cool to unlock.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's what I was telling a few of our other guests and stuff too. Is that the Dirt Life show is literally just what it means. Like starting having your dirt life, right? And so everybody thinks that I know Adam Drake. I seen him at the track, right? But they don't really know who Adam Drake is. They don't know who Casey Peck is. They don't know who Georgie Hamill is. Like, we really want to be able to share your story and like let people understand who you are as a person. Maybe not just the RC car guy that they see at the track, man, so they can get a little bit of behind the scenes stuff. And we really appreciate you opening up and sharing your story with us today.
Yeah, it's cool. That's what I enjoy most about the show, is because you have on guests that, again, you see them for who they are in the industry that they're in, but you don't really, there aren't many shows or opportunities to kind of get to know like where those people came from. So super cool. Happy to be on the show and kind of, I guess, tell my story, talk, my story is, big part of my life and my racing has been being involved with Casey and racing with him. So I'm sure we'll have a lot of stories that we can share together, and it should be a lot of fun. Yeah,
it's cool, man. And to have all that, like, arm's length with you, the first time I actually met you, Adam, like, I don't know if this sounds weird, but like I had no idea who you were. I just knew that you were one of Casey's buddies. You let us stay at your house one night when we were in California having some business meetings for some stuff that we had going on. And I think we went out to get something to eat or did something cool. Like, it was just super fun to hear your story and hear us talk about fun stuff, man. So it was nice for you to open up like that to somebody that you had no idea who they were either. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so I think like just in general, like, I guess the dirt community, it's like whether you grew up racing motocross or, racing sprint cars, whatever. I don't know. I think it's kind of like one big family. So it's like, yes, I knew Casey very well, but it was kind of like if you're a friend of Casey's, you're into kind of the same stuff. It's like we're all one big family.
Yeah, but I raced short course, so I was the odd man out, right?
Yeah, he was just charging your packs.
He had the moto background and stuff, so.
So, all right. Well, we got some people already commenting in, and they're talking about engines and things like that. But why don't you guys use this opportunity to ask Adam maybe a little bit more of a friendly question, maybe not so much of a technical question. Adam's really good at answering technical stuff in a lot of the YouTube videos that he does and some of the stuff that he does on Instagram and social media. So use this opportunity to try to see if you can get some other questions that you're interested in.
They need to go on their social media and share and get more people watching.
Yeah, exactly. So that we can all have a good time with Adam. So, do you have anything else before we start getting into his backstory, Case?
No, I'm still recovering from the laughing.
Oh, yeah, with Adam, the crying,
and then of course, Adam, there'll be a good time for it, but I mean, you know it's coming. You know the rental car story's coming.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited for it because I was on a receiving end of a phone call that was.
Oh, were you?
Oh yeah, it was. It was.
I got stranded.
Oh, right on. Well, let's just rewind it a little bit. We'll Tarantino it since we've already talked about some of the fun stories with Alvin.
Right.
So you grew up in Michigan, right? And riding dirt bikes and stuff like that. So what'd you do as a little kid?
Yeah, so I was born in Michigan. I lived there till I was 9. And pretty much just grew up racing motocross, riding bicycles, just pretty much anything in the dirt, just building jumps in the backyard or wherever we could find a dirt mound if they were doing construction, anything like that. We were always doing something, whether it was on our bicycles or on our motorcycles. My dad had motocross background, and with my brother and I got us into racing motocross, and started off just as, kind of doing it for fun, just kind of traveling the local tracks in Michigan. And more so for my brother, that progressed into a lot more serious racing. But we still, as a family, we did a lot of traveling. I mean, we would go every year to the Mini-O's, to Ponca City, Loretta Lynn's.
Do you remember what years those were?
Yeah, so it would have been probably late 80s, early 90s.
Oh, okay. So you're a little bit ahead of when we went and did that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for me though, like I said, I was born in Michigan, but then when I was 9, I moved to South Carolina. My mom got remarried, moved to South Carolina with my mom and my stepdad.
Before you start talking about South Carolina, where was it in Michigan that you grew up?
So I was born in Grand Rapids, and then we lived in a small town, Saline, and then later in Ann Arbor.
How far from that is Flint, Michigan?
Not too far, like 45 minutes or so.
So the only real stories that I have about Michigan is Baja Acres. Like, honestly, still to this day, I don't think
that's the first track I ever raced at.
I don't think there's a better motocross track on the planet. Like, I've never ridden at Redbud, but dude, Baja was like my all-time favorite, and then Lake Whitney was second. Baja was so awesome.
Yeah, that was actually first race. I believe it was on a 60 at Baja, just on kind of like the little mini track that was just basically part of. You did the starting gate, and then it was kind of a loop, kind of more around the starting gate and stuff like that. Mainly just some rollers and stuff like that. I was super young when I started.
Dude, you must have had to be pinned on like a little 2-stroke, because that track was kind of like loamy. Yeah,
it was super sandy. But again, it was like the track that at least I started racing on. It was super small. It wasn't really part of the real track, other than kind of the starting area. But then later, as I got older, raced on the actual big track and pretty much all the tracks throughout Michigan, Redbud, Iron Mustangs, Baja, Polka Dots. I mean, we were somewhere every weekend, if not multiple tracks.
Did you have a favorite track?
I mean, again, I was super young. It was a long time ago. I think for me, like, I don't really have like super big memories or like a favorite track. It was just more of the time spent with like family and friends.
Yeah.
Like, it was so cool growing up, and every Friday it was like, as soon as I got out of school, the motorhome was already loaded up, hopping in the motorhome, and we're headed to the track. And you're at the track all weekend, come home Sunday night, and just basically repeat and do it all over every weekend. So as a kid, it was like so exciting. There was never a like, what are you going to do on the weekends? Or, you're going to go hang out with your friends, or you're going to go to the pool or whatever. It was like, we were going racing. And it was super cool to just be able to spend so much time with my family, meet so many people, travel, and enjoy racing motocross.
So a lot of people will agree with this, that Adam is one of the, if not the hardest worker in the RC car industry these days, right?
No doubt.
So I think that there's probably something that goes along with, because he's just saying we'd loaded up and went to races, right? Like all he had to do was show up. But I think if I read between the lines, you and your brother were probably having to work your ass off during the week to get things ready to go to the races.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely like a family or a team effort. I mean, obviously my dad did all the work on the bikes and preparing the bikes, but even before he would do the work on the bikes, my brother and I would always have to wash the bikes, wash the motorhome, vacuum out the motorhome. We would definitely have to do our part. And I think like that's what basically molded me into the person that I am today, is like being able to see how hard my dad worked and how much he sacrificed for us to be able to go and race. Like, I mean, it's considerably more expensive to do nowadays, but everything's kind of relative, to its time. So
right.
Just the foundation by itself that your dad provided was probably intense. Like,
yeah, I mean, just seeing him work so hard to make sure that our bikes could be, as good as we could afford and have the best opportunity to try to do, not only do our best, but also, be safe. So, that kind of, I guess, steered me in the right direction. I just always remembered, like my dad saying, if you're going to do something, do it right. Like, give it your all and do the best that you can do. And wherever that then puts you is where it puts you. But at least you left it all out there, you gave it your all, and the results will end up where they end up.
Yeah, exactly. So did you have that same ethic since you started, like that same work ethic, and just continue it now?
Yeah, I mean, things have obviously like developed or evolved over the years. I mean, when you're super young, your main focus is just having fun.
Right.
But seeing the sacrifices that my dad went through for us to be able to race, like, I always took it serious. And like with RC, it's really been kind of the same. Like when I first started, I didn't even know that there was actual racing for RC. I had an RC car. We would build a dirt double, have some kids lay down in between it at the motocross track, and racing was done for the day. We would just be playing with RC cars.
Yep, that's exactly what we were talking about, the perception, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, once I kind of realized that there was racing, and like just the competitiveness of it, it's like, I mean, I was hooked. Again, it was always fun to just drive and play around with RC cars, having a little backyard track. But once I realized that there was like a competition, and you just kind of strive to be the best you can be.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that nowadays, like with video games and things like that, of course you can be ranked, wherever with the video games, but it's something about like putting in the effort, working on your car or working on your motorcycle or your go-kart or whatever, and then going out on the weekend and being able to kind of see that hard work and those results pay off is really cool. So it's not just the racing aspect of it. It's the preparation, the work, the tweaking, trying to make improvements.
Yep, 100%.
That has made it so awesome for me, and also made it to where even after doing it for so long, I'm still just as into it. I mean, it would be really easy to come home from a race and throw your stuff in the corner, and it's like, it's good enough to go to the next race. Like that's just not me. So, for me, it's I want to kind of go through everything, take it apart, tweak it. Maybe if the race didn't go perfect, find out what was maybe wrong and fix that for the next race.
Dude, 100%. But I think Casey will agree 100% with this. Is like, it actually does take a special character, a special person, to be able to keep that drive going. But to just have that drive in general is, I don't want to say it's rare, but it's special.
It kind of is, yeah.
Because there's a million people that you saw on dirt bikes. There's a million people that you see in the RC car world that will just get to a certain point and then they'll just fall off, right? And they just won't do anything anymore. So the drive and ambition has to be there. So I know that you're being humble about saying that, but you should give yourself a pat on the back, man, because that drive and ambition is hard to find in, well, most humans these days, to be honest.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I give that up to my parents. I mean, I think it's just how I was raised. I'm not sure, because for me, it's crazy because I do see, like, especially in RC, because that's what I'm involved with, so many of these younger kids that they start out and all they want to do is drive their cars, race, do the best that they can do. And it's like they get to a certain point to where they're starting to get recognition. They get really good. Maybe they're getting some free product or they're getting some help, to get to some of the races. And it's like a switch goes off and they lose interest.
Yep.
And next thing you know, they're not racing. And like, for me, I just don't get that. I don't understand that. Like, because I would always try to, like, I guess maybe it comes from, like, you set goals, you reach those goals, and then you don't have new goals to kind of work towards. But for me, I always felt like as I kind of progressed, like, that almost motivated me even more to kind of see, like, well, how much farther can we go, or, how much more can we get out of this, essentially.
That's the rarity that we're talking about, though, is because a lot of the people that you just described, that's their level of making it is, oh, okay, I got free tires, I'm good.
Right.
Yeah, like I've made it. I'm okay now, or whatever it is.
Right.
Like, and that could be in any sport. That could be in baseball or wherever it is. And to be honest, that's probably
that could be even with your day-to-day job. It could be with anything.
Absolutely. Yep. That's actually a really good point to bring up, is because Casey and I have talked about this a million times, is that people always get caught up in their jobs and stuff, and they're just like, yeah, you know what? I'm good making $50,000 a year. I don't need to do anything else. This is just fine. And that's where people just lay down and be satisfied with what they have. And that's one of the things that I admired most, because, like I said, I didn't know you when I met you. But when I started figuring out the person that you were, it gave me a lot more interest in being around somebody like that, because that stuff rubs off, man. And it's really cool that you're able to help people because you show them that drive and determination.
Yeah, and there's two comments that are very descriptive that I would agree to describe Adam: passion and desire, 100%.
Yeah,
that's a huge part of it.
So, well, you said you had to move down to South Carolina then, yeah?
Yeah, so when I was 9, I moved to South Carolina. I would still go back every summer to live with my dad, and then during the summers I would continue to race motocross. I'd bring my RC stuff with me. I think I started racing RC, I must have been like 12 years old. So I would still do a little bit of both. When I would race RC pretty much year round, because in South Carolina, we didn't have snow to deal with or anything like that. A lot of rain, but no snow. And when I would go back to Michigan in the summers, we were still going motocross track and racing, but it wasn't as serious for me. RC was kind of more my thing, and the motocross was something that my brother was definitely very gifted at, and that was more his thing. But I would still go along. We'd be there with the family, and then I would race RC sometimes during the week, or maybe if we went to the motocross track on Saturday, maybe I'd go race RC Sunday, or vice versa. So,
well, it sounds like with the personality that you have, and maybe this was the same way when you were growing up, but so motocross is a weekend sport, right? You either have to train for it and be dedicated to it, and you race on the weekends, or you race every couple weeks or once a month, whatever it is. And if you live in Michigan, you race in the summertime. And with your personality, it sounds like being able to focus on something like RC cars 3 times a week, twice a week, whatever it is that you can actually do an event, suited you a little bit better.
All year round. Yep.
Yeah. 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 And also like living in South Carolina with being away from my dad and my brother. Like, so I lived in South Carolina until I graduated high school. And, you know, being away from them, like, if I was going to try to continue to race motocross, like, you know, more or less doing it on my own and preparing and working on the bike, it wasn't going to work. So, and again, RC kind of like filled that same like passion or adrenaline for me. And it was something that I could kind of do on my own. My mom and stepdad, you know, they would go along to some of the local races or come to watch and things like that. But for the most part, I could work on my own cars. I could prepare them. I could go to races on my own. And it was something that I could do every weekend. And, you know, again, I could go back in the summers and still race some motocross with my brother and my dad also.
That's super cool. What level did you and your brother get to them in motocross?
So my brother, he was, I'm trying to think when he actually quit racing. He was, I guess it was like 91. I think it was 91 at Loretta's. He broke his collarbone.
Do you know what class you were riding? Or he was riding?
What's that?
What class was he
Yeah,
riding?
he was riding the 12 to 15 schoolboy class.
Oh, cool.
Modified. He actually broke his collarbone while leading. It was like it was his first moto of the weekend. It was actually one of the first motos of the event also. And it actually happened literally like 20 feet from me. It was right where I was standing, like watching.
Crap.
And I remember like trying to like climb through the barbed wire fence and getting all bloody and stuff, trying to, you know, see if he was okay. But so the plan was do Loretta's. After Loretta's, he was going to ride the last 3 or 4 outdoor nationals, try to get a national number, and then basically turn pro in 92. And broke his collarbone, wasn't able to ride the last couple pro nationals. And it was like, it kind of, I guess, what we talked about like earlier, where it's like, you know, you had your goals and like kind of once you reach them, or if something happens, like in my brother's case with like breaking his collarbone, he wasn't able to, like his goal was to ride those last few nationals, get a national number, try to get a ride for the following year.
And when it's in a critical stage like that, it counts more. You know what I mean? Like it's Yeah.
So when he broke his collarbone, it was like he wasn't super bummed about like Loretta's. He was bummed about, you know, all this work that was the ultimate goal was, you know, to ride the last couple nationals. And so he had some downtime because again, breaking his collarbone, and just kind of started hanging out with his friends more and hanging out with some of the wrong crowd and, you know, doing some things that he probably shouldn't have done, and kind of lost his focus on motocross for a little while. And he actually ended up, because my dad and him had a bit of a falling out, and so he moved down to South Carolina with my mom and I, and had nothing to do with motocross, just, you know, was focusing on working and trying to get his life straight, and literally came home from work one night and told my mom and I, it was like, I'm moving back to Michigan, getting my shit back together, and I'm going racing again. Like I've got unfinished business to do, and now's the time. And it was kind of funny because, like, you know, my mom's all excited, like, you know, man, this is great. Like, she knew how much he loved motocross and how good he was at it and things like that. And so she's like, you know, okay, well, what's the plan? Like, you know, when are you going to do this? He's like, I'm leaving tonight.
Whoa.
Wow.
And, you know, she's like, you just got done working all day. You know, you're not, at least sleep on it, pack your stuff, and, you know, you could start your drive tomorrow. And he's like, no, this is what I'm doing. Like, you know, it was like that drive came back, that focus. He wanted to get back to Michigan as soon as he could and kind of make things right with my dad and start working for my dad in the family business and start training and getting back into motocross.
I think you got to respect a decision like that, though, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's literally what he did. He packed all of his stuff up and started driving that night and moved back to Michigan. This must have been like, I think it was like either just before or just after his 19th birthday. So he was still young, still had, plenty of time to where with kind of having his mindset on, this is what he's going to do and the determination. It wasn't like he took 10 years off from racing and was going to try to go back and, do it. So moved back to Michigan, which was super awesome for my dad. Obviously, he was super into racing and he raced when he was young. So for my brother to come back and be all determined and, they were able to hash some things out and get on the same page and kind of get a plan for what they were going to do to move forward with racing again.
That's pretty cool of your dad too, to still be like ready, chomping at the bit to help out your brother too. I think both Casey and I sitting here too have the same respect, and our fathers have the same level of respect for us too. So that's pretty sweet, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
definitely.
But unfortunately, like about 2 weeks after my brother had moved home and was back in Michigan, him and his buddy, I believe his name was Benny, they had both got off work. It had just finished raining, and they were going to go fishing. And in the process of heading to the lake to go fishing, my brother's friend Benny was driving, and a deer ran out in front of him. And Benny swerved to miss the deer, ended up going off the road and having a really bad accident. And unfortunately, my brother lost his life in that. So that kind of, obviously changed a lot of things, and for sure, for my dad and mom, and myself as well. I mean, it's still difficult today, even though it's been, a lot of years, but, things happen for a reason. And I guess the cool thing about all of it was, again, whatever that switch was that went off in my brother Brandon's head, and basically his determination to go back and make things right with my dad and get back into racing. That time that my dad and him had together, at the end is priceless. And, thinking of how difficult it would have been had he not moved back to Michigan and had those couple of weeks to my dad, would have been pretty crazy.
Yeah. Well, first of all, we both, Casey and I sitting here, appreciate you sharing that story. We know that it's emotional for you to go through something like that. And the thing that I always think is, because all of us have been through significant emotional events in our life, and none of us can qualify it because it's just accidents or whatever stuff happens, right? But the best part about the statement that you just made is that your brother made all of those positive decisions for his life. Didn't have anything negative going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is super, super cool, man. Well, so after that, I'm sure that there was a bunch of different things, somber moments with the family and stuff like that. But going forward, what did that do in your case? Did that give you motivation to change some of the things that you were doing in your life?
Yeah, I think more than anything, it just kind of showed me or made me realize, like, you only live once, essentially. So it's like, make the best of it, do the best that you can, try to be the best person that you can. And, for me, again, at the time, it was like I was super into RC, and I would almost say it like kind of made me focus a little bit more, or made me put a little bit more effort into it, I think, for a couple reasons. Probably for one, to kind of like take my mind off of things, but also to realize, like, with my brother, like, I mean, he had a really, really good deal going on the motocross side of things, and all these things kind of lined up. And it's like one incident, he breaks his collarbone, pretty minor injury, something that you should be able to, in a couple months, come back from and be good to go. But how that kind of like changed and directed his life. And so for me, it's like my focus has just always been, you know, like keep working hard, do the best that you can, you know, put in the effort, you know, and work as hard as you possibly can and try to achieve the best results that you can for yourself.
Yeah, because you can't live for tomorrow. You got to live for yesterday. You got to live for tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And anybody that knows Adam, even if they don't know Adam, they can tell that he's super dedicated. And once again, if not the hardest worker in his industry,
one of
for sure. And Adam, if you don't mind, let me rewind for a sec, because I feel like there's a funny little story that's around that time frame.
Well,
that
say Rory's comment first.
Definitely, yeah. Actually, Rory, this is a great one. Adam, Rory Biter says, "Some succeed because they are destined to, but most succeed because they are determined to," and that's a great one. I think
Adam actually used the word determined just a second ago too, and I think that runs with his whole family, not just him. Like he said, you know, his parents taught him that stuff. His brother learned that from his parents, and obviously he learned that. So you know, he shows everybody that's around him those same things.
Absolutely. And a couple more things before you do that for me, Adam. So. Mark Pavitas, there's definitely going to be a conversation about Girl Scouts and Burger King. I was hoping he would be ready for that.
Mark was a bad influence.
He was.
That's one of the times in my life where I definitely let, I guess, some peer pressure kind of get the best of me.
Yeah.
Not to say that I wasn't very irresponsible on my own, but. What started out as just some fun between two buddies kind of went south.
Yeah, I can't wait. We'll hold it off for just a few more minutes. And then Adam, this is a good question actually. I can't remember who asked it, but how many questions, emails, text, emails, etc. about what you do you get a day? And Rhonda made a pretty good guess. She probably knows, but Kenneth was asking what I know you well, and I know you're glad to do it, but I know you're a super busy guy, and it's awesome that you take the time for that. So it would be awesome to hear that number. What does that look like a day?
Yeah, I've never actually count. I don't know that I actually want to know for sure.
Right.
And it obviously varies, different days or times of the year, but for sure, over the weekend and early in the week, the number of emails, Facebook, Instagram messages is pretty unbelievable. And there's times where it's like, man, it's overwhelming. It's like, I can't answer all these. I can't get caught up. But I don't know. I just feel like, I just try to do my part. I try to, when I started racing, there wasn't social media. You didn't have the opportunity to just send a message or send an email and get an answer. You kind of had to figure stuff out on your own. And I appreciate that time, but I also remember being a young kid and I'm just I wanted to go drive my car and I couldn't figure out something. So I just tried to do my best to give back and answer all my emails, messages, things like that.
If he gets 50 of the same exact question, then he releases a YouTube video.
Yeah, exactly. And
exactly.
Carl Vicinich says 10 from me a day. 10 a day from me only.
Yeah. That's kind of how the YouTube thing started for me was if there was a question that I got more than once, I was like, man, there's more than one person who's curious to know how I would do this. So some of the videos are super, super simple, but I think we have to sometimes take a step back and realize, whatever the industry that you're in, if it's what you're into, you've been doing it a long time, you've gained a lot of knowledge, but there's a lot of people who it's new to them.
Yeah.
And
right.
Some of the most simple, basic things could be really challenging for some people. Probably a large portion of the people who are in that, whether it's hobby or industry.
Gluing an RC
racing.
tire still blows my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I try to do my best, whether it's with videos, emails, get back to people as quick as possible. Some of some things that make it difficult because, again, some of these guys are excited. They're looking for answers. But when the same email goes to my work email, my personal email, my Facebook page, then they're messaging Rhonda, that's where it kind of gets a little overwhelming. But I don't know the actual number, but I would say it's probably well over 100 a day.
Rhonda says 3. She's probably closer.
I'm sure that there are
probably
some
at
days
least.
where it's probably close to that. And that's for anyone watching who does message me. If when I get back to you, a lot of times it's just pretty direct and to the point. It's not because I don't want to be more detailed or have a, I guess, more in-depth conversation. It's primarily because I'm just on to the next one.
Yeah, there's not enough time in the day, right?
Yep, Kenneth, he answers every question, and everybody appreciates it 100%. So Drew Spurgeon says, "What's your setup?" He's kidding, obviously. We're laughing.
Yeah.
Question mark. But let me get back to that if I could. So I remember, in fact, I think I found out about it the same time that when you came with me and we were out there. But I had seen this cool helmet in your garage multiple times and kind of knew a little bit about it or whatever, and I think you asked about it, and there's a real life Jeff Stanton helmet, a ride helmet in your garage, and
and that's got big chips and chunks taken out of it. And
which race was that from?
So it must have been from, let me think. So I would have been 9. It must have been from like 98. He was on a Yamaha. He was number 8. So I know he wore the helmet at the end of Supercross into the very beginning of the motocross season. I'm guessing it would have been 98.
88?
What's that?
88?
I'm sorry, 88.
88,
yes.
oh yeah.
Not 98. So I remember we were looking through the Motocross Action magazine, and it had like a 2-page
magazines?
spread.
What's that?
Yeah. There was a 2-page spread of the start of one of the Supercross races, and like Jeff's helmet stood out to me, and I was like, "Oh wow, look at this helmet!" I'm like showing my dad and stuff, and he was like, "You know what?" He was like, "As your going away present, because this was right before I moved to South Carolina." He's like, "I'm going to get you a helmet painted just like that." And then he was like, "Actually, you know what? I'm going to get you that helmet."
I love
and
this.
It's funny, my dad like jokes about it. He was like, "Oh my gosh, like what did I just do?" Like, we knew the Stanton family. We would go ride with the Stantons like when we were younger and growing up, and pretty close with the LaRocco family and stuff like that. So, but my dad was like, "Oh shit, like I probably should have asked some questions before I just promised."
Before I promised.
And you're 9 years old. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I was 9 at the time. So
you'd have been crushed if you couldn't make it happen.
Yeah. So then I'm thinking like, oh my, this is the coolest thing. Like, when am I going to get it? So we were actually at Red Bud, and it was for the Pro National, and my dad was like, I think I was moving to South Carolina like maybe a few weeks after Red Bud. So my dad was like, "Hey, make sure, before the end of the weekend, you go by and, say goodbye to Jeff, since you're going to be moving, and, it might be a little while before you see him." So, because some time had passed since, my dad told me about the helmet. I wasn't thinking about the helmet, totally kind of forgot about that. And so this was before, the big 18-wheelers, all the riders kind of had their own box van. And so big crowd of people because it's at Red Bud, it's Jeff's home race. And so I'm kind of like standing off to the side waiting, and he actually kind of waved me over, pulled me up in the box van. I was just sitting up in the box van, like while he's signing autographs and stuff for everyone. And kind of as the crowd kind of started to, kind of go away and things are kind of slowing down, he was like, "Oh, hey, by the way, I got a present for you. I hear you're moving, and I've got something that I want you to take with you." and he grabbed the helmet off the wall in the box fan and gave me his helmet. So it was pretty cool. Still have it today.
As a 9-year-old, like
Oh
how,
my gosh,
dude,
totally.
that would be so cool.
Well, so seeing that
and being from Michigan.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got some cool jerseys of some guys and stuff. That's all awesome, right? But
seeing some Larry Ward jerseys.
But seeing that helmet, like, okay, that's cool. But then, like, the story is so awesome. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that story.
That's super cool. Plus, your dad was like, "Yeah, let's go."
That's my favorite part.
So we got a quick comment, real quick, before we move on to the next subject. Josh from TactMed. It's actually a pretty cool thing that they offer. These basically like dog tags, so to speak, for that you can put in your driving suit, like if you race off road. So if you get in an accident, they can know what's wrong with you or know who you are. He said. Man, it's an amazing story. Hard work, perseverance, and dedication will always prevail. Keep up the great work in your sport, and your brother would be so proud of you. Dominating, and by dominating, I'm sure he means dominating at life in general. So it's pretty cool. And
thank you so much.
Yeah, he says great show. So I agree with Josh 100%, man. Like, all of the things that Adam's talked about so far, and this is just the beginning, have really kind of set the stage for being the person that he is these days, man. Like, it's pretty awesome. And so still in South Carolina then, huh?
Yeah, so I was in South Carolina until I graduated high school. My dad flew down the plan. I mean, we kind of had this planned out all along, but he flew down to be there for my graduation. And then the day after my graduation, we loaded up my Blazer and a little U-Haul trailer and drove back to Michigan so that I could work for my dad in the family business. So I would do that during the day.
What was the family business?
So it was Draco Incorporated. We were basically a distributor and serviced machines that would recycle automotive waste. So like parts washers, filter crushers. The main business was waste oil furnaces and boilers. So living back east in Michigan, you have all these places like, quick oil change places or like Ford plant that they generate all this waste oil. Well, the winters are harsh in Michigan, and these places that would generate all this oil, they would have to pay to have the dirty oil taken away, and then they were also liable for it when it would leave their facility to where it would get to where it needed to go. So we sold, distributed, and serviced these furnaces, boilers that would actually burn that waste oil to essentially give them free heat in the winters. So
that right there shows you where the work ethic comes from, Dad.
Oh yeah,
Dad's work ethic was not a slouch if you were in an industry like that, man. Can you imagine dealing with some of those customers that he had to deal with? Holy cow!
Because I would help like doing installations and also servicing the waste oil furnaces. And man, you talk about a dirty, nasty job. When we get a little bit farther into this, I'll tell you a little bit about when my dad decided to sell the business and move. Kind of the call he made to me once I was already in California. It was pretty cool.
That is pretty crazy, dude. Can you imagine like how dirty you would get? Holy crap!
That's some nasty stuff, and it's all used oil. It's not like it's nice, clean. Yeah,
and it's not like an easy mechanic oil change job either. Right.
Yeah, when the furnace was like tuned properly, like the actual burn was very clean. Like you wouldn't see like, big clouds of smoke in the air. Like when it was tuned correct, like basically you had an oil and air mixture.
Leave it to Adam to break it down like this.
Yeah, there goes his tuning skills.
But still, internally, like in the combustion chamber, like when you'd have to clean and service these things after the winter, it was pretty nasty. I mean, you would have to basically scrub all the tubes and then climb into the combustion chamber, scrubbing all the soot and ash out.
Dude, watch. Like, if he could go back right now and knowing all the stuff that he knows about, like, tuning and, like, engines and stuff like that, he would, like, reinvent the whole industry and then have it operate completely different.
This is probably where it came from.
Yeah, exactly. All right, that's cool. So you obviously wanted to have that conversation with your dad and move back then, huh?
Yeah, so I mean that was kind of always the plan. I mean, never did I think like, you know, I'm gonna go race professionally or anything like that. It was just I kind of, you know, we had our family business and it was like, I don't know, it's just kind of what I guess you kind of thought was going to be the next step. So I was going to college at night for marketing and business management. I was racing on the weekends. I would even there'd be times like if I could get off work a little early, I would go to the local track, run for a couple hours before going to school at night. And it was, you know, RC was just kind of for fun. It was a hobby. It was something that I was really into and I put a lot of effort into, but I didn't really think it was something that, you know, could turn into a career. Like I knew you could progress and I had gotten to the point to where I was getting free product and then eventually I was getting some help and my travel taken care of to go to races. And then next step was you're winning maybe a little bit of contingency money, but never thought it was something that, you know, you could actually do as a career. It was just, you know, just do the best that you could, try to have the best results that you could and see where it would take you.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we were talking about before, like the perception and stuff. Is there a couple people that wanted to say what's up?
Yeah, definitely. Grady Jeffrey says, "What's up, Adam?" And
what's happening?
Eric Lundvall, yes, my top pro.
Oh, Tyrone too.
Yeah.
Yep, and Tyrone Robinson, what's up, Adam?
Yep, awesome.
I like this one. This is good. Sean Speed Bump Williams says, "I thought chimney sweeping was bad. I can't imagine."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Adam, I don't know if Rhonda's there in the room with you or not, but the screen says it's paused. I don't know if you can look at it.
Yeah, let me see. I think someone was calling.
Oh, okay. It looks like you're good now.
Alrighty. Sorry about that.
You might need to zoom in a little bit.
Is it good or no?
It's good. You might need to zoom in a little bit. Yeah, so really, like, the next step then is kind of probably going to be what kind of sets the, sets the path for the next step in your life, right? There you go. That looks pretty good.
Perfect.
So it sounds like you're at the point now where you obviously go to college and you get your education and stuff like that, but the next step is what's going to lay the foundation for what we'll call it the rest of your life, no?
Actually, let me throw this out, Adam, before I lose this one again. I think this one's important. There's a guy named Mason Walagarski. He said, he raced with you and your brother, and he said score racing in Savannah, Georgia with Adam. I'll bet that.
Yeah, raced with Mason and Garrett. That was, man, you want to talk about some stories? You should have had Mason call in. I mean, stories of we used to race our RC cars on the roof of their house. We used to we would set up indoor tracks. The layout of their house was pretty open. There were some poles and stuff, but his parents would go out of town and we would set up full-on RC tracks through the whole house. We would put cars through the walls, have to patch the walls and stuff.
That's
before
crazy.
His parents would get home. It was pretty epic times.
So to answer Tyrone's question, he said,
fun.
"Casey, are you retired from racing?" No, you'd come out of retirement if you could race on Mason's house.
Oh,
on his
absolutely.
Yeah.
Tyrone, we need a local track for me, buddy. And then absolutely I'll come back and have some fun.
Yeah, it kind of does suck out down here in Arizona, Adam. There's not really much for us to do here. I was able to go to that Hobby Action place up in Chandler, but that wasn't anywhere near what the RC car racing used to be back in 10 or 2000.
It's tough for you guys because of the heat also.
Yep.
Yeah, and there's just no places to go. It's just I don't know. Most people think of RC car racing here as going down to Radio Shack.
Yeah, Mason says, "LOL, the good old days." Yeah, I can imagine.
Awesome times, that's for sure.
Mario says Drake Peck team combo, one of the greatest. Yeah, we had some good times.
Well, we'll kind of get into that stuff in a little bit, Mario, when we start getting into the later years of Adam doing stuff. But so. What's the next step on your journey, man? Like, did you see any value, or did you get into any of the college stuff like a lot, or were you just like, man, I think I need a little bit more action in my life?
Well, what's funny is like my dad would always tell me like, man, you need to reach out to Pops and Junior and like see if they've got anything you could come to work for them, anything you could do out there. And I just always would kind of like, I guess not really I just never really thought that there was many opportunities to do RC for work. So I just kind of always like laugh or joke it off, like, yeah, right. Like I'm going to go, work in the RC industry. And again, my dad, like, I think he just saw my passion for it. He saw that's what I love to do. Like I would spend so much time working on and preparing my cars that he's like, he just kept saying, you should really ask them, like maybe there's something you can do. And then I literally one day just got a call and said, hey, you ever thought about moving to California and coming to work for us? And that was actually Todd Hodge who had called. And
none of us knew that. Well, Casey might, but
yeah, so Todd was a racer from Ohio, so we knew each other. He was a couple years older than me. We knew each other from racing throughout like Michigan, Ohio, kind of all throughout the region. And Todd had moved to California probably a year, maybe 2 years before me. So for me, it was like, at first I was kind of like scared. Like, I'm like, holy cow, like, this would be awesome, but how do I tell my parents? Like, that's a long ways to go for, a kid who's like 19 or 20 years old.
That's a pretty significant life change right there, too. Were you still going to college at the time, or did you already?
Yeah, so I was still going to college at the time, still working for my dad.
Yeah.
And when I told my dad, it was like instantly, he's like, you've got to do it. Like,
wow, that's cool.
There was no like, well, let's talk about it or anything. It was like, you've got to do it. So
sweet.
When my dad was young, he had an opportunity. He was really good at like barefoot water skiing, and he had an opportunity to go water ski professionally, and he didn't do it. He stayed home, worked on the family farm, and kind of probably did the more responsible thing. And obviously everything worked out for him. Everything was good. But I think there was always a little bit of like, man, I wonder what would have happened or how that would have progressed had I done it. So when I kind of had the opportunity to do what my passion was, he just told me, he's like, look, you're young. You can start back up school in California. If California doesn't work out, you can move back here. We still have the family business. You can go back to, servicing and shoving combustion chambers on waste oil furnaces.
Chimney sweeping.
So if it's all right, like, can we take a step back real quick? Because, like, I'm still, like, on this whole barefoot water skiing thing.
Yeah.
Like, did he not teach you, like, you and your brother how to do it? Like, because honestly, dude, if you know how to barefoot water ski, that's going to blow my mind.
Yeah, no, I actually have the feet for barefoot water skiing. I have really big feet, so I probably could have been something in barefoot water skiing, but no, I never
could have been a threat.
I don't even know if I ever even just normal water skied. We were always into motocross. So
every time I think of the barefoot water skis, I just think of like the videos of the older guys. Like, they're a little bit older, but they're still super ripped, like skinny guys. Yeah. But they like. There's no way you could take like just a standard 18-year-old out there and do that. Like, you'd have to have some serious skills. Like, our kids be like, "Oh, I could do that," but no way, dude.
That's pretty much your pops. I always knew he would fly out. This is what's cool about Adam. Obviously, his parents were always supportive of him. And there was many races throughout the years that we went to, pretty much all of them, that your dad would fly out and, you know, be Mr. Supportive every time. But there was definitely something about a hidden badass of him that I always kind of knew, and you just
Did
never
you know about the barefoot water ski?
I had no clue about
See, there it is.
That's so cool.
It was. I got a quick story about my dad and Casey. So we were in Charlotte, and I think we must have gone to breakfast. And Casey was like, talked to my dad, and he was like, "How'd you sleep last night?" And he's like, "Well, you know, after I took a shower, I laid down, put my head on the pillow, and I closed my eyes."
Well, I started by putting my, and right there I was like, okay, I know where the smart ass comes from.
Yeah, he's like, "I don't know, that's how I sleep every night." He was like, "How do you sleep?"
Thank you very much for giving me something to say to all these people that are asking me how I'm doing too.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's awesome.
That is pretty awesome.
Eric, you definitely could take me down, buddy. I'm nothing anymore.
All right, So all right, so you have this decision, and then you obviously have a good support mechanism around you with your family and stuff. But
yeah, my mom though, like, she was super supportive, but she was also, I think, scared shitless of like her youngest son.
Dude, I don't know. That's a big decision.
Especially after Brandon passing away, like her only son moving all the way across the country.
Yeah.
Right.
And she's like, you know, "Are you sure? Like, I don't know. That's too far away." And the way I kind of had to pitch it to her was, I was like, "Look, you're in South Carolina and I'm in Michigan. Like, if something were to happen and you had to come see me, save me, visit, whatever, you've got to get on a plane. You're going to spend a half a day to come visit me. If something happens and I'm in California, you're going to have to get on a plane. So no matter what, by plane, it's really not that much of a difference."
That's
like,
actually not a bad sales pitch.
It is, yeah. It makes sense.
So, and I believe my dad talked to her as well, and basically said, "Look, you know, my mom knew how much I was into racing and how it was my passion, but I think it was more of just, you know, being a mom, being scared that her you know, youngest is moving away." But you know, my dad had talked to her, and they were good with it. And I loaded up a U-Haul truck, put the Camaro on a little car dolly or a little flatbed, and made the 3-day drive from Michigan to Southern California.
How did you feel about it, though? Were you just like overwhelmed with excitement, or were you like, "Oh shit"?
And was it the same Camaro with the adjustable rake? Spoiler.
I think when I moved out, it didn't have the adjustable wing, but over time, kind of worked its way into the adjustable wing, overheating. It's we could do a whole show just on that Camaro.
I guarantee, and White Lightning too.
Yeah. I've
that
had
the old Chevy?
Yep.
Yeah.
She's still going?
The Chevy truck I sold, I don't know, a couple years ago. It was funny because Rhonda's like, "How much do you spend a month in gas?" I don't know.
We should
so we
think
kind of
about
like added up. She was like, "You could drive a brand new car and like save money, but instead you drive this old truck that it's got a 454 and it's your daily driver. Like, you're burning so much gas." So we sold that, and then I got a new car.
Was it as cool as Mason reminds us of a purple Blazer that caught fire in the high school parking lot? Apparently you weren't too good at wiring the stereo.
Yeah, well, we could do a show on stereo on that. So the
These
Blazer,
two cars that Adam had.
Yep.
88. It was an '88 Chevy Blazer. It was like lowered, tinted windows. Like, it was purple. It wasn't like, so I bought it the way that it was. Like, this guy had.
So I can just see Adam driving, like, bumping NWA and this.
Yeah. So
Cypress Hill.
Yeah, Cypress Hill.
So I had, you know, speaker box, everything in the back. Well, like, the amp went out. So we took like a home stereo system.
120 volts.
And had like a converter
yes.
that ran to the back. And one day at school, someone like got in my car, went to close the door, and like burned the carpet from the front all the way to the back. So it was like smoke, stunk. Like, yeah, it was pretty bad.
Sounds like some of your e-buggy battery things over the years.
Oh,
all
man.
of us,
Yeah.
all of us. That's for sure.
That's a good story. But so it sounds.
What was kind of funny is like, so when I pay for and take care of and things like that, but moving to California, it was like, I'm going to do or try to do it all on my own. So I didn't really know what to expect. When I moved out there, it wasn't for very much money. It was purely for the passion of doing it. And I didn't really get all the details when I was moving out there. Like, I didn't know, like, are they going to help with some of the, moving fees and stuff like that. So I was trying to do everything like as cheap as possible. And so I'm in this U-Haul truck. I'm driving out. It's got no AC. So it's like windows down. First day, like you're all excited, arms out the window. Like I'm going to be tan when I get there. Like by the second day, like your arm's so fried and burnt that like, you're wearing a long sleeve shirt just so that you don't have sun on it at all.
So for anybody that hasn't driven across the country, you always have one tan arm when you arrive at your destination.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah. So I wasn't sure of the expenses, and I'm like, man, I'm not going to spend, $80 a night to stay in a hotel. Like, I'm going to just sleep in the truck. So I'm sleeping in the front seat of the truck, driving each day. I end up getting sick because, like, I think it was the second night, once I had made it like farther west, it got really cold at night because I had the window cracked. I got sick, like, but it was a cool trip, cool experience. I remember like this was before even having a cell phone. I think my stepmom must have had a cell phone, but it was like you didn't really use it much because you paid per minute. So I had her phone with me as an emergency, and my parents would call, get a little update, each night. But yeah, it was a pretty fun but crazy trip.
Yeah, well, I just think like how interesting that would be. So like I moved out to Southern California, but nothing like that. Like that was like I don't know. That's to me that's kind of like on a whim, right? Like Adam is so calculated and planned. Like to hear that he's doing this, like driving himself across the country with a Camaro and a U-Haul.
It's
like
kind of out of character. If sounds like Dad's like, do it, and you're like, you're right.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
And the crazy thing to think about is like, again, there were cell phones, but they weren't smartphones. So there was no like GPS.
Google, yeah, no Google, nothing. You just know. Yeah.
Right, a real map. Did you hear that, kids?
That's interesting though. So all right, let's fast forward a little bit. So you get there and you're in Southern California, and what's the next step? Did you move into a house? Like,
what's up, Camden?
No, I moved into an apartment. But the craziest thing is like, so when I first got there,
actually, where was this in California?
This was in Chino.
Okay, and it was working for who again?
For Team Losi Racing.
Okay.
But what was crazy is, so I show up my first day, I go in, I talk to Gil Losi Sr. I was like, I made it. And he was like, oh man, that's awesome. He's like, well, I got some news for you. And I'm like, what's up with that? And he was like, I sold the company. And I'm like, excuse me? He was like, yeah, but it's going to be a good thing. Don't worry about it. Like, I didn't want to tell you and like kind of spoil the excitement or, maybe have you not make it out here. Like everything we talked about is going to be the same. And I'm thinking like, man, we didn't really talk about much. Like you told me what I'm going to make and that's about it.
And you're like, what the F?
So he stayed on with the company. Things didn't really change much until like a few years later. So everything was good with it, but it was just kind of a funny story that it's like I get out there and then, he scares me into thinking like, man, do I have to turn around and drive home now? Like,
that's what I thought you were going to say too, is I thought you were going to be like, yeah, he's like, yeah, the position's closed. Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, that was kind of the trip to California. That's when I started working in the RC industry, and
so can you imagine having that pivotal of a life-changing experience? You know, like my dad did kind of the same thing. He just moved from Connecticut to Arizona, just drove across the country by himself, and got a job, and that was it. But so Adam's was a little bit more calculated than his. But whenever I think of those stories, my dad's and Adam's, like I think of like how dramatic of an experience that would be to be like, especially Adam's so calculated, to let that all of your life go and change directions like that.
Yeah, you're totally along for the ride to some extent there.
You really are, because you're putting yourself in somebody else's future. Well,
right,
so to speak, Somewhat,
Yeah, I mean, for me though, like I had a really good relationship with the Losi family, and I knew that, obviously they had their own lives and stuff like that, but I knew that they were going to try to help, guide me along the way, or, they weren't going to let me come to California and not have a place to stay.
Gotcha.
Like I was able to stay with Pops and Janet for a few days until I found an apartment and things like that. But it was still a really big move. And especially, again, when you think of the timing of it, because, you couldn't just go on your phone and just, find a place to stay, whether it was a hotel room or when I then needed to get an apartment.
Right, you got to literally go there and show up.
Yeah.
Well, so we can fast forward a little bit, unless you got anything interesting that happened in the next couple of years.
That's fine.
So go ahead.
The one thing was, like, to kind of fast forward a couple of years was, so my dad, and this is what we kind of touched on earlier that I said I wanted to talk about, but
that's right, getting rid of the
my dad hits me up and he's like, so what do you think? You like it out there? And I'm like, this is weird. Like, I've been out here like a few years. Like, I'm like, yeah, it's good. I like it. He's like, you think you're going to stay out there? And I was like, yeah, I think so.
What are you getting at?
He's like, well, good, because I just sold the family business and I'm moving to Tennessee.
Oh,
he was like,
oh man.
He was like, the business isn't very profitable, and this isn't what I would want you to do the rest of your life anyway. So I'm glad you found something else to do, but I kind of hung on for a little while just in case it didn't work out. You would have something to come back to, but seems like things are going good, and I'm getting out of the industry. So.
Well, so Adam's making light of it, but that's pretty gnarly too. That's like a pretty gnarly decision for Dad to go through. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
And for him to stick it out, because when he says that, I don't know him real well, but I know him enough to know that he meant that. Like, he probably did tough that out for a minute to make sure that Adam was going to be solid. That's pretty cool.
And everybody that's listening to the show knows what it's like to tough something out, like work and staying at a job you don't like or whatever. But
absolutely.
So did he move to Tennessee then? And
Yeah, he's still in Tennessee. He moved to Tennessee, and he's been there ever since. It's probably now been, man, I bet he's been in Tennessee 15 years or so.
Man,
probably even more.
That's crazy. That's a cool story, though. And so, is he doing stuff now? Like, what's he up to?
So he's retired now. He did continue to work just doing sales in the same industry once he moved to Tennessee, but he just kind of wanted to, I guess, focus just on the sales. That's what he kind of enjoyed doing the most. Being a business owner can be difficult, employees and company vehicles and the stress and headache of all that. So he just kind of wanted to simplify things and just focus more on the sales side of things, and that's something he was really good at. So
can you think, like, when Adam gets a phone call, Dad's like sold the business, like, yes, I don't have to get dirty anymore.
Yeah.
Score.
But again, it was kind of like, a little bit of like extra motivation. It's like, okay, well, shit, I better make this work now. Like, not that I was ever like planning on going back to cleaning waste oil furnaces, but you always kind of had that, I guess, as like a Band-Aid or on the back burner. And now it was like, okay, I need to make this work.
Yeah, it's another piece of reality that happens in your life. That's totally understandable. Yeah. But it's one of those things that kind of shows you, like, Okay, maybe I did make the right decision. Maybe I am on the right path. Maybe I just need to focus a little bit more.
Yeah.
So, what was the next thing that happened for you? Because obviously you worked with Horizon and Team Losi and stuff like that for many years. Yeah. So, what was going on then?
Yeah. So I raced for Team Losi for like 20 years. I worked for the company for around 15, and then a little over 5 years ago, I switched employment and where I currently am now at Mugen Suki Racing. And then aside from Mugen Suki Racing, I also do testing and product development for a number of other companies like OS, Proline, Futaba, and then Rhonda and I have our own business on the side doing the engine break-ins and engine service and things like that for the model engines that we race in our cars.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, including myself, understand a lot of that stuff. You know, you obviously do the YouTube videos and things like that. Like, most of that stuff is pretty, I don't want to say common knowledge nowadays, but it's pretty on the forefront, and you do a very good job, by the way. But like we said at the beginning of the show, we want to kind of get the backstory a little bit more. So there was a bunch of cool things that happened during your tenure, or that, let's just say, 10 to 20 year span of moving to California. And obviously you still live in California now, but there's been a bunch of cool things that have happened. Obviously one of them was meeting your wife, Rhonda.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy how things work, and how you take a path and where that kind of leads you, and the people that you meet, and the outcome of that. So yeah, so Rhonda, it's funny because I think a lot of people think Rhonda and I got married and she got into RC. A lot of people don't realize that Rhonda's been in RC longer than me, actually. So we started right around the same time. I think maybe a year or two before I started, she got into it. And, she was racing in California. I was racing in South Carolina and Michigan. So, our paths are completely, on opposite sides of the country. And I moved to California racing. We become friends. We
was
both
she faster than you? That's what everybody wants to know.
Yeah. No, she's an awesome racer.
No, at the time, it was a serious question. When you guys first met and she was, like, you saw her at the track, was she faster?
No, I would say that I was always a little bit quicker, but like, there's definitely times like, man, don't let her catch you slipping, because like,
for sure,
you choose the tire or you're not totally focused. Like, she's a serious competitor, and she's going to give the best of them a run for their money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. So how did you actually get to know Rhonda then?
And she was the Mugen originator, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So she ran Losi 10 scale stuff. Losi didn't have 8 scale stuff at the time. This was before the 8 scale stuff came out. So she was with Mugen for 8 scale, and we just became friends. We knew each other from the track because, again, we would race at Hemet on Friday nights, or K&N, or Extreme. It had a few different names, but on Friday nights, and just kind of became friends. And that's kind of how it all started. Just kind of being acquaintances and then becoming friends. And we'd be at the track practicing or racing together, and eventually one night we were at the track and we ended up just going to dinner. A lot of times, like at the races, at the end of the night, a group of people get together and go to dinner. And, one night we decided just to go to dinner, just the two of us. And, the rest is pretty much history.
Dude, that's such an awesome story, especially because, you can become friends with somebody first. You know what I mean? That's, pretty special.
Yeah, and like you said, they knew each other for a long time.
Yeah.
So,
and
even that.
And I think, the coolest thing is, don't get me wrong, everyone needs to have their own hobby or sport or interest, but the coolest part is we're able to share that same passion and interest and drive for racing together. Like there's an understanding there. Like it's funny because like Rhonda will joke all the time. She was like, if we weren't married, she's like, you wouldn't be married. You work too much. You're too into racing. You're trying to help too many other people, but she gets it. She understands it because she's been involved with racing just as long as I have. So it's a good balance. It works out great to where she has the understanding of, you know, what I'm doing, and she loves to do it as well. So it's pretty cool.
She's wired that way too, Adam. I know Rhonda pretty well as well, and she's willing to go out of her way to help anybody as well.
I can imagine the things that they do together.
Yeah,
they're probably both pretty technical and skilled, right?
Absolutely. But make no mistake about it, you mess around, she's going to get you.
Yeah.
She's got the feisty side too, which we all love.
Oh,
yeah.
let me not.
More so than I do.
Yeah.
But,
she does not. She doesn't have
sure,
patience for the keyboard warriors. Let me put it that way. No, she's got no patience for that.
Definitely a serious competitor, and I mean, you say like doesn't have, you know, the patience for the keyboard warriors. I think it really comes down to like, you know, she's a loyal person and she has people's backs, you know, like people that she knows has her back, like myself or Casey or Lerone or, you know, any of our closest friends. It's like, she's not going to take shit from them. You know, she's, you know,
Mama Bear.
So we had, before I forget, we had one of my buddies text me today, and he said, "Oh, I think I know that guy. He worked for Horizon Hobbies, and his name is Jesse Nelson." And he said, "I think he used to hook us up when I worked for the race team, or when I was a professional racer." So he wanted to tell you hi and thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's I saw he was on the show not that long ago, and yeah, it was pretty cool with Horizon. Like, you know, I think a lot's changed, but like, you know, there was a number of years where they were very much involved with full-scale short course racing, the motocross racing. And it was cool for me because I was able to meet a lot of people like Jesse, Ryan Villapoto, Jake Weimer, a few of those guys that, you know, we kind of had ties with over the years. I still text with Scuba from time to time. Scott Atkins, who has motocross school, or not motocross school, mechanic school, Jeff Alessi. So yeah, it's pretty cool to have been able to, like, you know, meet and enjoy the RC hobby with so many people, in so many different types of racing.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Casey and I talk about this all the time, too, like the things that you learn through RC racing, or the competitive spirit that you guys have in RC racing, and all of these different things. There's so many, so much common ground in all of this stuff, dirt bikes, and it's just so cool to see. And
lots of parallels for sure.
Yeah, and Casey has done a good job by getting you know, people like you, Adam, on the show, and he got Steve Westfall on the show, and Ryan Sipes, and different people like that, because all of those guys have been touched by you two in the RC car world. So to have that is pretty special, man.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I think I wish there was a way to kind of like portray or show more people that about RC, because, you know, like you had mentioned earlier, like people think of RC as like it's toys, and it can be. It just depends on how far you want to take it or the level of vehicle you want to get. But the mechanical side of things, the mental side of things that RC can teach you is pretty much the same as racing full-scale motorsports.
Yeah, 100%.
Obviously, everything's a little bit smaller, but from that standpoint, everything's, even though RC is expensive to do, it's a lot less expensive. It's less dangerous on the body than doing full-scale motorsports. So I wish that was kind of a direction that RC would really try to reach new people, is to let people know the values that it can teach younger kids that they'll use for a lifetime.
Yeah,
totally.
I can get along with that big time, because and by no means am I even close to the skill that you and Casey are mechanically or with setups and different things like that. But I raced RC cars for a little bit before I got into professional off-road racing and the side-by-sides. And almost every single thing that I did with setup on the actual car that we got to drive on the track was related to something that I learned a couple years prior with the RC cars. And most of that stuff was stuff that I learned from Casey, or Casey learned from you, or I learned from you, or somebody else at the RC car track, because that knowledge is really, really transferable to all those genres.
Yep.
It's pretty freaking crazy, man. And I didn't think about it at the time, but I started getting into setups and stuff, and I was like, dude, if I only knew what like Adam and Casey know, I could just make this thing so much more, sufficient on the track and like go so much faster. Speaking
of setups, Adam has probably the best Jack in the Box taco setup that I've ever had.
Really?
Yeah.
What is it?
So I was running out. Hey, at the races, right? You're never doing anything that you should. So you realize it's 12 hours in, nobody's eating. Hey, I'm going to go to Jack in the Box, get some garbage. You want to? Yeah, give me a couple tacos.
I still love Jack in the Box tacos.
Okay, so you like the ranch.
Yeah.
What is it, Adam?
Ranch is like the standard go-to.
Stock, yeah.
And it's funny because that was the same for Rhonda. And the one time I came home and I didn't bring ranch. And she was like, these tacos suck without ranch. I'm like, no, you got to try it this way. And she's like, that sounds gross.
Next level.
What is
Only
it?
way she can eat a Jack in the Box taco now.
Yeah, but I've had Jack in the Box tacos with ranch. He's got a different setup?
He does. Go ahead.
Yeah, sweet and sour.
Boom.
Wait, what?
It's not even right.
Yeah, Rhonda said the same thing. I'm telling you, once you do that, like, because I'm all about ranch on like salad, pizza, whatever.
Are you sure? Sweet and sour.
I'm not even. Okay, so you like the? It's actually a smoking deal too, if you think about it. Because if you get the egg rolls are awesome, right? You ever had the egg rolls?
Those are good.
Super good.
Yeah.
Well, this is $1 for 2. Instead of.
Man.
I'm not kidding you.
All right, tomorrow.
You have to.
It's Tuesday too. Tomorrow. So.
Anybody? Yeah, sweet and sour is so good. It is, Rhonda. I was thinking the same thing. And it's good. I promise you. That's the best setup out of anything that Adam has.
All right, so I'm going to try both of them side by side. Maybe I'll do an Instagram video. I'm going to try because
there you go.
I do a little bit of extra taco sauce, and then you can dip it in the ranch. That's like pretty good. But I'm going to try. Do you put extra taco sauce or anything, or just sweet and sour?
No, just usually. So you get 2 tacos per block or whatever. So it's like a half a sweet and sour on a taco. So one packet will do 2 tacos.
Agreed.
All right.
It's awesome. I promise.
Okay.
Everybody, you got to try it.
I'm going for it. Now I got an Instagram video I can do tomorrow. Thanks for the idea, Adam. I appreciate the content.
So, Adam, let's back up a little bit if you can. There's some pretty high achievements and accolades there sitting behind you over that we'll call it the tenure at Losi, and you've had plenty of success after that. But that was kind of that like what Mike talked about, a little bit of that golden years that we were mentioning, and
well, maybe we should ask him that question first. Like, what was your perception of the golden years of Nitro RC then? Because I think Truey said 08 to 12 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say it maybe started a little earlier than that. I would say at least on the 8 scale side of things, it kind of started booming maybe 2006, 2007, like right around
yep.
that the 8 came out through like maybe 2013.
So that's why Rhonda was saying that it was such a long duration of time then.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, because like even like so before the 8 came out, like gas truck was booming. Like early 2000s, like that 2003 to 2005, like
oh yeah, you told me about that because I didn't know anything about those.
Yep, so awesome.
Was just absolutely booming. 8 scale was more like the secondary class or the sideshow, like, oh, that's for the guys who can't drive gas truck. Like,
right.
If you can't drive a 2-wheel drive gas truck, you run an 8 scale because it's easier. That was just kind of the perception.
Right.
Like, to win an 8 scale, you still had to be very talented, and like the best gas truck drivers were also very good in 8 scale. but not all the gas truck drivers ran 8 scale because Associated and Losi didn't have vehicles. So I would say, yeah, like early to mid 2000s were kind of the golden years for gas truck. And then when 2006, when Losi came out with the 8, that's when ultimately it kind of killed gas truck. I mean, it survived a couple more years, but for the most part, it kind of killed gas truck. And 8 scale has just kind of taken off and hasn't really looked back since then. But I would say nowadays, like the races, we're more focused on having a lot of races instead of having fewer races that mean more and more club racing in between.
It sounds to me a lot like the same transition as when it was 125 and 252 strokes, and then the 4-stroke era came out. Like the same kind of thing. It's like really killed all that stuff. But do you guys see any like resurgence of stuff? Because I know like obviously 2-strokes are popular nowadays, but you know, like there's been a few, at least in my opinion, and I don't know anything like you guys, like when short course came out, it was like, oh, this whole new thing is introduced. And then now, is there stuff that's like resurfacing that's coming back?
Yeah, I think kind of the silver lining, like with the whole COVID-19, staying at home,
That's just what I was thinking.
some people being out of work, like it's bringing people back. Like, so it's done a few things. Like for some people, like maybe they're not into RC, maybe they're driving side by sides, or they got into mountain biking, or they got a boat, you know, who knows? They got into things that are more expensive, things that they don't have to spend so much time tinkering and wrenching on, and more time just going on the weekend and enjoying. Well, now that people have had to stay home, they've gone through their garage, they've gone through their closet, they've dug out old RC cars, or just found something that gave them the memories of enjoying RC. And it also seems like when the economy is a little more questionable or not so strong, RC comes back, or you start to see a resurgence, because I think people get to where they're a little scared to spend money on like the higher dollar things as far as racing goes.
Yep.
And they wanna do RC because they can save a little bit more money. They can still get that thrill and passion. And what I really hope happens from all this is that people are a little bit leery of spending the money or the time to go to the major races. Like, we still need to have the major races, the regional races, and everything else. But I think we need to focus more on having more local stuff, a little bit of regional stuff, and even fewer big races.
I couldn't agree with that statement more.
Yep, and Rhonda's got the perfect comment. She said, make club racing great again, 100%. And I feel like that's going to happen on all industry racing.
Yeah, dirt bikes, everybody. Yeah, like everybody's doing all that stuff. And some of the stuff that was has been so successful lately has been dirt bike dealerships and dirt bike tracks and
a little more grassroots stuff.
Yeah, like way more.
But think about this, like, so if with dirt bikes or with mountain bikes, if the only form of like riding on a track was you have to show up at Loretta Lynn's, or you have to show up at Ponca City, like terrible. That intimidates people. That scares people. They're like, man, I'm just getting into this. I'm not going to go all the way to Tennessee and see where I fare with all these guys.
Right.
You have to have practice nights. You have to have club racing. You have to have stuff that allows people to kind of ease their way into it, to gain some comfort, to gain some confidence. And then they can try the next step, the next bigger race, and then the major race.
Yep. 100%.
And I think if we're able to get back to that and focus on kind of that mentality, we'll also grow the hobby, because right now it's just intimidating. Like, you're not going to get someone that's going to show up first race like I was at a race this past weekend. I drove 6.5 hours each way. I got 2 5-minute qualifiers, and a 15-minute main. Like, we got a bunch of practice and stuff on Friday, but on Saturday, I was at the track from 7 a.m. till almost 1 o'clock at night. And for each class, I got 2 5-minute qualifiers and a 15-minute main. Now, that's super cool because there was a lot of people there. It was awesome, like, to see that many people come out for this race. But think of the new guy who's not like me, who doesn't have the ability to race multiple classes.
Dude, that was me. I hated sitting at the track. Like, I couldn't stand it. Like, I quit going to the big races because I couldn't stand hanging out. Like, you guys would all be like, I'm going to Cactus Classic. I'm like, peace, dude. Have fun.
Yeah, like where you could do a club race and you show up at 8 in the morning, and by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you've gotten more track time, more racing in.
Yep.
And you still have the second half of your day to go spend with your family, friends, barbecue, hang out, whatever your other hobbies may be. That's where I hope RC kind of goes with this.
Plus, those are some of the funnest times that people have too.
They absolutely are.
Yeah.
Yep, it's great insight, Adam, for sure.
Yeah, like, so through this, just because how we're into it, like Rhonda and I, there was no way we were going to not do RC for the last couple months. So we snuck out to our friends' backyard tracks. We had some barbecue. We did the one Instagram live where we're at Jeff Cooper's house.
Oh, that was cool. I remember that.
It was awesome.
We went to some tracks that were closed. They kind of like snuck us in and let us run a little bit. And like those were some of the most fun times we've had in recent years.
Yep.
And it just got us back to like enjoying the people that we were with and just driving our cars. Like, you know, in the one Instagram video, Rhonda's like doing backflips in the background and stuff. And it's like just laughing, having a good time.
Yep.
And that's what we need to have more of. We need to forget about the stresses of the day-to-day job and maybe what's on the news and things like that, and just enjoy the company of our friends and driving RC cars.
Well, not that you need any more content or videos to do, but since you gave me some content, we have a bunch of people chiming in on this subject saying what a good subject it is to get that stuff back in. So maybe it's a good thing for you to bust out a YouTube video talking about making club racing great.
You know what? I have that on my video list, and I've like, man, I actually like did the intro for a video and then I deleted it, and I'm like, because how do I do it and not have the race promoters just
get all pissed?
Basically stare me down and you know, give me the evil eye. And I think the main thing is like, I don't want to see the major races go away. We need to have all these levels and stepping stones. I just think we need to have less of the bigger races so that when we do have them, they're more prestigious. They have more value.
So when did I get into the short course stuff? Was it like 12 or 13 or something?
Yeah, it was probably about 12, I think.
That was one of the first things that I brought up to Casey is I said, why do they have so many big races? Like, why isn't there just one good series or one good race that you go to? And he tried to explain it to me a little bit, but I thought it was so saturated, and I told him, I said, why don't we make it special for the people that aren't racing those nationals and do our own little series and do it like a little bit different? And it turned out so awesome.
Triple Crown?
So awesome. Like, we couldn't have gotten a better turnout in our little area that we were, you know? Like, it was super, super cool for everybody that was involved. And honestly, I've never been to a Worlds or anything or Nationals or anything like that, but the smile that we saw on the people's faces that were doing this and competing for these things, it was like they were winning a national.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. I think you need to do some barbecue videos, Adam.
Yeah. I need to do that video though. It's like I said, I've kind of struggled with, man, how are some people going to perceive this? But ultimately, I mean, that's what. It's my personal opinion. I mean, some are going to agree, some are going to disagree, but I don't know if it's going to necessarily make like a massive change, because I think the promoters are going to do what they feel is best for themselves, and that's fine. But I hope, if anything, like if I do that video, that it just kind of gives some people some perspective and just gets them to like remember or realize like, man, the Thursday nights at Rev, like those used to be some of the best times. Like I didn't worry about having new tires. I didn't worry about
about having fun.
Yeah, you just worried about just doing laps and having fun and enjoying it.
Dude, if I were you and I was doing that video, I wouldn't even worry about talking about any of the top stuff that everybody does for the big races. I would just talk about the local stuff, man. That's it. Like, that's all, because that's the most important part. I mean, look at how dead the RC scene is in southern Arizona. We don't have anything.
Yep.
Because nobody wanted to.
And you don't have anything because there were a few key large races in Arizona, but people would gear up for those races, and then once those races were done, they were like burned out, they were tired, they were over it,
broke.
So the local, they were broke because they had to buy new tires, new setup board, you name it. They just needed all new stuff to make the race the best that it could be. And ultimately it's either shut tracks down or gotten a lot of people out of the hobby. Fortunately for us, we still do have a lot of tracks in Southern California, but those tracks, they struggle. It's
not 2008.
Yeah, if they're not having the big race that weekend, they almost should not be open because you're going to be there and spend all day to have a handful of people show up.
And it's crazy too because of the population and the amount that you could actually have there.
Well, a perfect example, Isaiah Keene, or I hope I'm saying his name right. Sorry, he was just saying local backyard tracks and local practice and club racing is what brings in the newcomers. Agreed, and he said he's been loving the laid back scene and the barbecues and such. Nitro Compound up in Maricopa is doing exactly that. So yeah, I feel like that's starting, Adam. And yeah, you're not the only one.
Yeah, I just hope we can continue that,
yeah,
and
agreed.
If not, and maybe even take it like a couple steps further, because I'm afraid as more things open up and more people are able to gather, that the promoters are going to want it to immediately go back to the way that it was, or even bigger, so that they can kind of recoup the downtime.
Yep.
Because I think it's a short-term, narrow-minded plan. It's yes, you can make more money on those big weekends, short-term, but if over time you're running people out of the hobby, you're running tracks out of business, it's ultimately going to be bad for everyone involved.
Yeah, just like what happened in Arizona. So, do you remember Kenny Brosh, our good buddy?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He had an electric race that was it was off the freeway in Avondale.
Yeah, at Paddocks.
It was like Paddocks. Yep. It was like Thrasherland for RC cars. It was all sandy.
It was awesome.
I still to this day tell everybody, I'm like, and it was in the backyard of somebody's house.
Yep.
I remember seeing like goats and dogs and chickens and stuff running around.
Yep.
That was the funnest race that I ever. I mean, I didn't do good, but I remember thinking like, holy crap, this is what it's all about. This is like going to Glen Helen on a Thursday when all the pros are there.
Yep.
The track is super rough. You get to practice with all these badass drivers. Like, they can't get any better than this. And it was $10 to get in.
Yep.
Like, it was so awesome.
Yep. There's always been a. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, but ultimately, Kenny had an awesome series of KVRL going, trying to do that more grassroots level stuff, grooming these drivers. To where they could then do the larger races. But again, I feel that ultimately the major races that Arizona was fortunate enough to have, DNC, Cactus Classic, that is now Desert Classic, those were all great races, but ultimately those big races kind of shut down or killed the opportunity for Kenny to continue to have those series because tracks started going away.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so it
seems like a vicious circle.
Yeah.
And two examples that come to my mind, that the Schumachers are definitely doing a good job of that, of kind of resurrecting that. And then one of my favorite tracks ever down in El Paso, SCRC, same thing. Yeah. It's always a good time.
Is that the one I went to in El Paso or no?
No, you never did that one.
Oh, okay.
But it's similar kind of dirt. It's fun. It's motocrossy.
Yeah.
Great family. And, yeah, they're always it's for the racers to have a good time, get the barbecue out. And people leave there, and we need more of it. Having a great day and remembering, why they like doing this stuff.
So let's change the subject because you said that you wanted to like talk about this. So Adam, I don't know if you can see what we're looking at, but Casey was telling me that Rhonda put together a bunch of pictures in this frame for.
Yeah, this thing's awesome. I love this thing.
So what is all that stuff, Case?
So these are memories that she was able to gather. She was pretty crafty to find all these images, first of all, but of kind of highlights and showcasing each one of these three awesome national championships. So
these are like you and Adam together achieving certain goals or milestones in the RC car racing world?
Yep, and others, the common denominator, Adam driving, myself pitting, and then other people helping. Absolutely plenty of other people, but behind the scenes.
I like how she did kind of like the black and white theme too.
Pretty cool. Yep.
It is super cool. So one of the things that we forgot to talk about, Adam, was yours and Rhonda's wedding. Casey said it was awesome.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was obviously a super, super special day. It was super hot as well.
It was. I was just remembering that.
But yeah, I mean, wouldn't change anything about the day other than maybe the temperature. Super beautiful day. It was same place where Rhonda's sister was married 20 years prior.
Where was it at? In Southern California?
Yeah, I was in Southern California. Super cool, kind of set up in the hill, like some trees and stuff. And
cool.
Everything was all, one in one place, the wedding, the reception.
Oh, that's the best. Everybody can just hang out. Yeah.
Yeah. That way, people didn't have to drive to a different location. They were able to basically just walk up the stairs and start eating and have drinks and everything like that. Super, super awesome night, and super appreciative to have Casey and Mike Trury both in the wedding, and a huge part of that special day for us.
I was telling Casey some of those dudes in your wedding party were pretty big and made Casey look like he was puny. And Casey's a pretty tall dude too.
I know we could talk for 5 more hours, but we have to talk about the rental van. How do we segue?
Well, and then Mark Pavitas also had the question. Is that the same one?
That's the same one.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So he was talking about the troop of Girl Scouts.
I think that's what everyone's got questions on. It's funny because
well, you guys are going to have to detail this story out because I don't know.
Yeah, no, I will. So, I mean, I've told the story. I couldn't tell you how many times, but it's
it always gets better.
I mean, every time I tell it, it's like you can't really tell it without just smiling, and because it just brings back, you start thinking about like you tell the story and you think of little things that maybe you forgot the last time you told it, but so basically
every time it gets better.
Yeah.
So we're in St. Louis for the 2007 Roar Nationals. It was a world's qualifying event. It was I think it was 270 entries just in the 8-scale buggy class. That's what the limit was, and it sold out. So
it was amazing. Yep.
And they had this massive, almost circus tent for everyone to pit in. And man, the weather was gnarly. It was hot and humid. It was raining. They basically, for the most part, almost had to rebuild the track completely because they got so much rain.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, there was downtime. They're rebuilding the track. You're not able to run in the mud, and there's only so much wrenching you could do. The track time was really limited, so it's you clean up your car, and then what are you going to do? You're only running one vehicle.
I know you can go eat Jack in the Box tacos with sweet and sour on them.
Well, that's kind of where this is going.
Yeah, so there was no Jack in the Box, and I decided, I'm man, I'm hungry. And so right across the street was a Burger King. And a lot of the other guys, in the front of our hotel was like a little bar, and a lot of guys were like hanging out in the bar all day. And because again, we weren't going to run or practice that day, and I'm not really into, I'm not much of a drinker or whatever. So I'm like, I'm going to go to Burger King and see what they got to eat. And
some of those guys can tie it on though.
What's that?
Some of those guys can tie it on though, especially if they're bored.
Yeah, exactly. So I pull into the Burger King parking lot, and like, I don't think there was anyone in line in front of me. If there was, it was like one car. There's like not many people because again, the weather is like pretty bad. At this point, it had stopped raining, but like.
But this was just a rental minivan that you had?
Yeah, so a rental car or rental minivan, yeah. And the drive-through and parking lot, there's still puddles, it's wet and everything. So I'm like looking at the thing, I go ahead and order like, I don't know, chicken sandwich. Or I'm getting ready to order, and like someone rear ends me. Like not hard, but like kind of bumps me. I look in the rearview mirror and it's Mark Pavitas. So
for some of our audience that doesn't know who Mark Pavitas is, he was probably at the RC track too. He used to own a company called AKA.
Another icon in the industry forever.
Yeah, very, very cool dude.
Yep,
and I like him now because he likes riding bicycles.
Yep, he's a good dude.
Yeah. So I'm getting ready to order my food, and then Mark's laying on the horn so they can't hear me when I'm trying to order my food. He's trying to push me through the drive-through, like, kind of reminds me, or like, I guess if you think back of like Days of Thunder, like when they had the rental car.
Right.
So I'm putting it in reverse. I'm like bumping into him. He's bumping into me. We're like playing around. Like, so I've got the e-brake on so that he can't push me through the drive-through. And
because you're still trying to get your sandwich.
Yeah. I order my food, and then I'm like peeling out, like, most minivans, like they've got no power, but because it's wet, like it would spin the front tires. And Mark's ordering his food, I'm backing up into him. And again, we're not like ramming one another, just kind of like playing around. And so I drive up to the window, and we're just like laughing. He's the only one in his van. I'm the only one in my van. And we ran for different teams and stuff like that. So it's just, having some good fun with rental cars. And
Adam, can I interrupt you really quick? So on this rain day, with the weather all screwed up, I was all messed up. I had a sinus infection. I was sleeping it off. So I wasn't out anywhere. I was literally the only one that wasn't at the bar. I was sleeping.
At the hotel?
Yeah. And so with that in mind, continue, and I'm going to
Wait, so did Mark come from the bar?
I'm going to get a phone call. No, definitely not. Definitely not. I just mean for our group of people.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So I drive up, I pay for my food. Mark's still honking, bumping into me, like the guy's looking out, like, what's this guy like? Are you okay with this guy, like, bumping into the back of you and stuff? And so I'm like revving it up on the rev limiter, and I'm backing up into him, and just, we're just being stupid, basically. So I pay for my food. I get my food. I put the parking brake on, and I literally just sit there for like, it seemed like minutes, but it was probably like 30 seconds, just doing a burnout. Like, it's literally smoking like the whole like Burger King. Like, guy has to close the side window. People inside are like looking outside, like, what's going on? And Mark's behind me laughing, like, so he's going to have to pull forward and now be in all this smoke. So I'm thinking I'm like all cool and being funny. And so I released the parking brake, and you probably went like, I don't know, 40 or 50 feet, and then it 90 to the left, and then you went another 50 feet, and it opened up into the parking lot. So I release the parking brake, pull away from the window. When I get to the corner, I hit the e-brake again. I go to slide around the corner, and I slide into the curb, and I hear this loud pop. So I'm like, holy shit, I just blew the tire out. Like, there's probably already people in the Burger King, like, calling the police because some guy is being an idiot in a rental car. And I go to look over my shoulder, like, thinking, like, man, I got a flat tire. And the wheel, like, brake assembly and cable is, like, going past me in the grass. So, like, in my head, like, I wasn't even thinking, like, you know, like, how are we going to fix it? What are we going to do? Like, all I could think of is, like, I've got to get that tire and get out of here. Like, the police have got to be on the way. So I jump out of the van. I chase the tire down in the grass. I'm carrying the tire back, and Mark couldn't really see because, like, I hit the curb, and then I rounded the corner, and then there was bushes there. So, like, he could see that the van was parked, but he didn't know that the, like, wheel broke off or anything.
Did he know whether you were in it or not?
Well, he knew that. Well, yeah, he didn't know for sure if I was in it or not until he pulled forward a little bit, and he sees me carrying the wheel with, like, the brake cable connected, and he literally, like, spits his drink out, gets his phone out. He's, like, recording me as I'm, like, carrying it. I open the side door of the van. He's, like, recording me, like, trying to interview me, like, Adam, what are you doing here? What happened? And I'm, like, all annoyed. I'm just like, dude, like, you don't understand. Like, we've got to get out of here. Like, they're going to be coming to get us. So the van's dragging on the ground, like, the suspension's just digging into the concrete. Throw the tire in the van, and I start, like, pulling out of the parking lot. Like, all I got to do is get out of the parking lot and across the street, and I'm at least at the hotel. So it was pretty apparent after I, like, went 20 feet, I'm not going anywhere in the van with 3 wheels. So long story short, like, I called the rental car company. I told them I had a problem with my van. And
the wheel
they're
fell
like,
off.
yeah, they're like, well, you know, do we need to come out and help you change the tire? And I said, well, no, like, the whole axle broke off. And they're like, well, how did that happen? And I said,
This is the best
well,
part.
you guys have plastic mats in the floorboard. And I said, the mat must have got, like, wedged under the gas pedal. And I said, when I went to leave Burger King, it's like the throttle just stuck wide open, and I thought I was going to shoot, like, out into oncoming traffic. So I'm like, all I could do was pull the emergency brake. Otherwise, I was going to, like, possibly kill myself or kill other people. Like, and then, like, as the story went on throughout the rest of the weekend, it was like Girl Scouts were selling cookies on the corner, and, like, I did everything I could to save the Girl Scouts by swerving out of the way and pulling the emergency brake. But
This is that poker face I was telling you about.
so the craziest part, though, is so the rental car place shows up. They bring a new van on a flatbed. The guy takes a statement from me, makes me fill out this whole thing. So I'm just like, all right, I'm sticking to my story. Like, the plastic mat got wedged under the gas pedal. It was like the throttle stuck on your dirt bike. And my dog got my water bottle.
Troop of Girl Scouts.
Yeah. So I think the rental car company thought, like,
They did something
I
wrong.
was going to sue them.
Yeah, I remember this.
So they're, like, being super, super nice to me. They're like, here's a new van. Don't worry about it. They dragged the old one up on the trail or up on the flatbed. And I'm thinking, like, man, these guys are, like, they're, like, being really nice for me just destroying my rental car. So this was when I worked for Horizon. We would deny all the rental car coverage because Horizon had their own coverage. And so for years after this, I just was always like, I'm going to get the call. HR is going to call at some point, and they're going to question this. But again, I think the rental car company was so scared that we were going to call them and, like, file a claim that they never called us. We never called them. They brought me a new minivan, and I've never driven a rental van like it's not my own now. Like, now I just treat it as if it's my own. I'm just getting to and from where I need to go. Like, I dodged a bullet there. I'm still able to rent from all the rental car places. And
You're not on the blacklist?
No, I never was on a blacklist. There was never any question of it because I think, and I wasn't thinking, like, you know, it's kind of like the Alvin story with the water in his room. Like, I wasn't thinking, like, if we, like, flood his room, he's going to get a free night. Like, I wasn't thinking if I break the axle off this minivan,
Like,
to get a free one.
They're going to just bring me a new one and, maybe give me a discount on my next rental. But it's just kind of how it worked out. It was, I didn't really know what else to say. I kind of just, before the guy showed up with the new van, I kind of wedged the mat up underneath there. And I'm like, man, you can see, like, these mats are dangerous. Like, it got wedged under there, and it was like, basically like a runaway. And so I just kind of panicked, and I pulled the e-brake, and next thing you know, it slid into the curb, and this is what happened. And it could be all coincidence, but I rent a lot of cars. I travel a lot for the races, and you'll never see rental cars anymore with rubber mats. They just have either no mats, or they have the stock mats that usually like clip in or have the little like kind of prongs to dig into the carpet.
Enterprise Rent-A-Car has the Adam Drake rule in their book.
Yeah. But back in the day, they would have the standard mat and then have a plastic mat because if you were in areas where it was raining, you got in with muddy boots, it would ruin the stock mats. And I don't know if it's just coincidence, but no more rubber mats in the rental cars.
Well, one thing that I have to take from this story is that you said that don't get the since the insurance. You guys already has it. Everybody should always get insurance on their rental car, please. Everybody.
Yeah. Well, the thing with Horizon though, they had their own insurance, so they were like, if you get insurance, you're going to pay for it. They're like, we have our own coverage, but with working for the company, had it got turned into their insurance, I probably would have lost my job over it. So, fortunately, it worked out to where they never called us, we never called them, and still able to rent cars. And like I said, I now drive them as if they're my own.
I just remember being in a Sudafed haze, and getting the phone call, hey, can you bring my backpack over to across the street to the, whatever it was? What's going on? Yeah. Oh, I had a little problem. We kind of broke an axle. Oh, no big deal. You can just drive it right. He's like, dude, the wheel just passed me. And then hearing all the rest of it over the years is great.
Oh my God, that's hilarious! And all of the added the extra that people put on it.
Yeah. Yeah, like the story over the course of the weekend, like. It just kind of like progressed. It got to where, like I was the idiot who broke the axle into I was like the guy who saved this whole like group of girls that was selling cookies. And, if it wasn't for my like quick reflexes, probably would have wiped out a whole like Girl Scout community. So.
Would have took out like 6 nuns that are walking down the street.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome, man. Yeah, I always get the rental car insurance no matter what. I remember I had a Dodge Durango one time, like when I gave it back, both of the tires were off the back rims, the front windshield was broken out, the doors didn't shut. Like, it was pretty haggard, man. And the guy goes, what happened to this thing? I'm like, do you guys even maintain these? Like, what happened? Like, he's like, I'm sorry, sir. Would you like me to, call corporate? I'm like, no, it's okay. I'm doing all right. I got a ride coming.
That's awesome.
All right, dude. So what's going on, like, after this, like, since COVID's happening right now, like, what's the future hold for you?
So racing has started back up. For the last, I would say, month or so, the tracks have slowly been opening up. We've been able to do more like practice sessions in larger groups. This coming weekend, we actually have a club race at our local track, Revelation Raceway. This will be their first club race since this
Was
pandemic.
that the track that you took me to?
Revelation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I just did like 400 endurance laps in SC10.
Yep.
Yeah. And then as far as like the major races, a lot of stuff has been either delayed or postponed. Some stuff's been canceled. But then there's also some of the major races where it depends on the venue. Like with the Mugen Challenge, it's at LCRC Raceway in Pennsylvania. The Roar Nationals was postponed or canceled for this year, but they are going to have other races like the Mugen Challenge and the Flashpoint race and a few races like that.
It sounds like those races will double up and get a lot more people then, huh?
Probably so.
Yeah, I think you're going to probably see some record turnouts at a lot of these races. Psycho Nitro Blast is in about a month.
Would you be interested in doing any of those, Case?
I might head down to El Paso.
Really?
One of these days.
It'd be cool to see you get back driving RCs again.
Mm-hmm.
What, like a wheeling? It'd be cool to see you wheeling again.
Yeah. Maybe I need to come out and hang out, Adam. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, anytime. We've got room. You too, George. Well, I'll get you a buggy together.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Dude, I'd probably crash the crap out of it. You'd spend more time working on it after I wrecked it. But I would love to come out. Anyways, I forgot what it's called. It's a short course truck, but and I just went on Saturday to that Hobby Action place, and honestly, man, I thought it was really, really cool to get my head working again. Like for those that don't know, I was in a bad accident and my brain got scrambled pretty bad, so my eyes and stuff don't work the same way they used to. And when I went to the RC track, I did horrible, like the whole day, horrible, but in comparison to what you guys would think. But from the start of the day to the end of the day, I saw such an increase in the way that my brain processed all the information and the way that my eyes like tracked, and it was so freaking cool, man. So like I would love to be able to go and hang out and just, even if I didn't drive or anything, and just watch you guys, that would help so much.
Yeah.
It would be super cool. And I love that place that we went to, that Revelation place. That was super fun.
Yeah, definitely.
All right,
yeah,
so
but for the most part, yeah, racing's starting to get back going, and hopefully we do some more stuff here locally. I try to do like a few clinics throughout the year normally when I travel to some of the races, but I've been talking a little bit lately about maybe doing some clinics here locally, maybe just some kind of setup and tuning clinics. So hopefully we're able to fit some of that into the schedule as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, that'll be cool. It would be really cool for Casey to get out there and do that again, too.
We'll see, Cody Taylor. We'll see.
So how can everybody get a hold of you? It's Adam Drake 117 on Instagram?
Yep, Adam Drake 117 on Instagram. That's pretty much the handle I use for most things. The 117 was my brother Brandon's AMA number, so I've kind of always tied that into
awesome
to all my stuff. Obviously, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And then as far as email goes, just adamdrake117@gmail.com.
Sweet, man.
Look at what Christopher said real quick. A little bit of a sidebar about your brain. Where have you heard that before?
Yeah, exactly. So
true.
Casey actually tells me that all the time, Christopher. Christopher said, Adam, so you can't, I don't know if you can read the comment, but he said you have to work out your brain like it's a muscle. And I didn't really have to do that until I had this brain injury, but Casey always tells me it, man. And it's so crazy, like, as we always talk about it. You're just playing with a toy car, right? Well, to me now it's not like that. Like to you guys, it's very serious racing. It's a skill building thing. It's like an industry, right? To me, it was never like that. And now it's like, holy cow, this is like a therapeutic actual thing that can be a tool to make me better.
Yep.
So when I was thinking about it, I was like, holy cow, man, like this is something that could completely change my life. Going riding mountain bikes with you. I've totally felt the same way. It's like these little things can improve your whole quality of life.
Totally. 100%.
All right, dude. So we have a segment of our show called Rapid Fire Q&A.
It's going to be fun.
So we're going to hit you with some questions, and you got to answer them as quick as possible, all right?
Are you going to switch up number 2?
I'm going to add to it.
So are they like, so is it like is it just like one word answer or?
Both. So there's like it's not like multiple choice. Most of them will be like A or B, and then some of them will be a little bit longer, but they're not hard questions. So I'll go first. iRacing or real racing?
Real racing.
Roxon or Tomac? Adam's a huge Supercross fan, obviously, as we know.
So what'd you say?
I said Roxon or Tomac.
Yeah, Tomac. I mean, I'm like huge fans and supporters of both of those guys for different reasons. Man, watching Kenny the other night was unbelievable. Like
that it was.
Seeing that he's had a couple races that were struggles, he's probably like the strongest minded person. I mean, not that I know him, but just watching him being able to like come back from injury, come back from a bad race, turn things around, was super impressed and amazed by his ride yesterday. But also just super cool to see Eli closing in on a championship that is well deserved, and it's it's really been his year, and
like,
hopefully he's able to.
Like you're saying, you really have to give both the dudes credit because they both have separate paths, but they both have, a same goal and the same work ethic. It's pretty awesome to see that.
No doubt.
All right, well.
Hey, Adam, real quick. Carl Vicinish says the best comment of the night. He says, "You've got mail," and he's enjoyed the show.
That's awesome. Well, since you're such a big Supercross fan, we'll throw in Barsha or Webb.
Webb.
Yep.
You're going Webb too, yeah. I like him because his brain, like Casey and I were talking about it, like how smart he is.
Yeah, and Tyrone said the 250 race was real good. It was awesome, Tyrone. That was probably one of the best 250 races in a long time.
It really was, but I don't even care about saying it on the show. Like, I really think Faulkner is just a little girl. I want him to just man up and stop complaining.
I'm not a fan, I know.
But all right, so what's the next one?
So Barsha Webb, favorite food.
Mexican food.
I knew it.
You're going. Oh yeah, we had another question down here at the bottom. Then, Lil Smokies or pizza rolls?
Pizza rolls.
Pizza rolls.
Of course.
Pizza rolls. Do you guys get sweet and sour on pizza rolls too?
No, that'd be more ranch.
Oh, okay.
Do you know how many times we've eaten pizza rolls in the motel?
Really?
Yeah.
Just heating them up.
Totally. Favorite soda? No soda.
I'm not a big soda guy. I would say. I mean, I pretty much, for the most part, only drink water. I would say Dr. Pepper, though, if I had a
What do you usually do? Iced tea or something?
No, pretty much water.
Dang, dude, going all healthy, dude.
Dr. Pepper is smoking.
All healthy.
Show.
Yeah.
When I'm putting sweet and sour on Jack in the Box tacos, that's I wouldn't say. I guess the water kind of balances it out a little bit, but yeah definitely not.
Dude, honestly though, like I think I'm the only one that's picked orange soda on this show, but like almost everybody picked Dr. Pepper, man.
Mm-hmm.
Uggs or Crocs?
Neither.
Dude, this is you got to pick one though, and I always tell everybody because I just think it's hilarious. It's probably stupid.
Yeah,
but
it'd probably have to be Crocs just to
put him in four-wheel drive.
Represent for Corey Drakenberg. He's a big time Croc guy.
He is.
And
does he put him in four-wheel drive?
Is he what?
Does he put him in four-wheel drive?
Yeah. He's full time Croc. But I don't know. I'm usually hot, so Uggs would make me sweat. So I guess I gotta let it air out with the Crocs.
So
all right, Case.
Here's a good one, Adam. Most memorable race. So many of them.
Yeah, Rhonda calls the Crocs Jerusalem Cruisers.
I watched a video with the Croc. I think Crocs Rhonda will get a kick out of this. Like when you put up the back thing on on your heel, it's called putting them in four-wheel drive, like locking the differentials, so you can get more traction.
Yeah, so you can do some hill climbing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, most memorable race. I mean, man, there's been so many over the years. I mean, having to pick one would probably definitely be the 2013 Nationals for a lot of reasons. I mean, that race was just super brutal, really hot, hard on vehicles.
This one.
It was post Casey surgery. Yep. It was on Father's Day. It was when my really close buddy Bill Bridges was near the end with his battle with cancer. There was just a lot of things. I mean, again, so many great races over the years, but I would say that one kind of stands out as the most memorable and most special race. Without going we could spend 2 hours talking about all those different things, but just touching on the brief things that we just mentioned.
One of these days we'll have to do another Instagram live and talk about just the racing stuff. I think it'd be cool. Oh, before we forget, you have a motor right there, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Well, I've got this box that was
could I see it?
One of the first. I'm pretty pumped on that baby.
Oh, so it's got Adam's logo and everything on it?
Yep.
I don't know if which camera are we using, this one right here? You guys can see it. That's pretty cool, man. So you got
he's got a second version now.
So it's called OS Speed Drake B21. Is that what that is?
Yeah, so the original one is the B21 Adam Drake edition.
Yep.
And then the version that was just released, I don't know, probably 6 months ago is the B21 82 or Adam Drake 2 engine from OS.
That's cool, man. always thought that was so cool that you and Casey obviously have your accolades in racing and stuff, but business stuff means a lot because that means you're supporting an industry, right? And we talked about this when you called in for Casey's show too. Is I just thought it was so neat, and then you've had this done for you as well. But when Casey got the RC car box for the Losi SCTE, like those things are so meaningful, man. Like we just asked you what your favorite, most memorable race is. Maybe a better question would have been most memorable moment in the RC industry.
Yeah, I mean, the 2013 Nationals would be right up there with pretty much any of the events. I mean,
well, what about something like an accolade that you achieved, like a box for an RC car or something like that?
How about driver of the year for like
there you go.
100 years?
Yeah, I mean that's what I would go with is probably the Car Action Reader's Choice Awards. So back when we had magazines, I mean, Car Action's still around, but magazines aren't what they used to be, and they used to have a yearly awards for the readers of the magazine could vote on the best of like all these different products, whether it was electric motor, nitro engine, fuel, vehicle, and then they also had driver of the year. And I was fortunate enough to win that a few times. So it was pretty special to have some of the people that some of the people you don't know, maybe just people that are, only know you from the magazine, but to fill out the ballot and to put your name on it and to be fortunate enough to win it was
well, first of all, for people to go through that and then to have a whole industry back you, that's pretty special.
And it was, he's being a little humble here. It was many years, multiple years. And
that's bitching.
Yep. Tim and I were thinking the same thing. Yep. Driver of the year. And Tyrone, Adams built a great brand, motors, break-in, resizing, best in the business. I think that's keeping both you and your wife busy at this point, right?
That's basically what Rhonda's doing now. Full time is helping with our business. She's been doing a ton of work. We're getting ready here shortly. We're going to announce our website probably in the next week or two.
Awesome.
And she's been going full punch helping with the website and shipping and just you name it. Just trying to kind of do something that's a bit more of our own and something that over the years, like I wouldn't change the way that I've kind of done things at all. Like I'm happy with how everything's played out. Like, but I guess it really kind of opened my eyes, like with my departure from Horizon and working with Losi for so many years, that things can change super fast. And when they do, it kind of opens your eyes. It's a huge learning experience. And I learned a lot from it. It was a great experience. It was kind of scary and difficult for a little bit of time, but it was an awesome learning experience and just kind of, I guess, made us focus a little bit more on kind of branding some of our own stuff, as well as still working and supporting, Mugen, Flashpoint, Proline, Futaba, OS, everyone else that I race for. So it's
having those relationships and keeping them going is super cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Definitely.
Is Rhonda around right now? Does she want to come on and answer some of these questions too, or no?
Yeah, she could finish them off.
I'm not sure. Rhonda.
So
I know she was watching. She poked her head in a little bit ago. And she threw out the Jerusalem Cruisers. And
that's hilarious.
Yeah, a couple guys, Tyrone and Isaiah, are like, "You hiring?"
They trying to get a job.
Yeah.
Do they live in Southern California?
She said, "Give her 1 second," but yeah, she'll be here in a minute.
Yeah, no worries. So going along that most memorable race thing, like whenever we think about this, like when you were at that race, you said it was 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was there some stuff that happened during the weekend that was like super intense? Because I know like when Casey and I talk about these memorable things that we've done, a lot of times it doesn't even have anything to do with winning. It's just like you remember certain things about the weekend that were so like vivid and so cool. Hey, Rhonda.
Hi.
So how about
Yeah,
Rhonda? How about Billy being in second forever and then losing it on the last? I mean, he's gonna hate to even hear that, but so many different things. Adam's so focused on what he's doing, but he's also like managing the race for the team at the same time. Like there's so much going on. So
yeah, I mean, for up until a couple minutes to go, it was we had the potential of being 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean you could pretty much like take it by the hour at these races, like especially at the major ones. Like there's so many ups and downs. It's like at that race, Dakota was, I mean, the class of the field in qualifying, and then he didn't even make the final. And us being 1, 2, and 3 until a couple minutes to go in the final, and Billy having, I believe it was a clutch problem.
Clutch bell,
those stories are so crazy. Like we could really talk about this racing stuff for so long.
So long.
Yeah. All right, well let's just skip to the next question. So Rhonda, you got to answer these two now.
Favorite flavor of ice cream?
I hate ice cream. I'll eat it. It's
what about
not
Froyo?
My favorite. Huh?
What about frozen yogurt?
Froyo.
I like frozen yogurt for sure. Probably just the plain vanilla or the plain tart.
Have you had the cheesecake flavor? It's so good.
Yeah. And then they also have the Greek version too, so I like that. And then I just put those like heavy like syrup cherries on it.
Nice.
That's what I like.
Sounds good.
Yeah. For me, for ice cream, it would be probably mint chocolate chip. And then if it was frozen yogurt, it would be whatever's like the sweetest. Like,
Skittles flavor?
Yeah. Skittles are like nerds.
I totally thought mint chocolate chip was coming up for the Michigan boy too. So
did you?
Yeah. Ski or snowboard?
Man, I don't do either, but if I was gonna do one, it would probably be snowboarding.
Same.
So we know this answer for sure. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Obvious.
Dogs or cats. Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Man, I'm probably more of a YouTube. Like, so once this whole pandemic started, we got Netflix
because of Tiger King.
Yeah, it's because we had heard about Tiger King.
There's no hiding. See, I told you she doesn't pull any punches.
So did you hear that Carol Baskin bought that place?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
a freaking lady.
But
man.
I'm more of a Netflix or more of a YouTuber. I would say. Like I watch quite a bit of stuff on YouTube, but the last 2 months we watched a little bit of Netflix.
So you know what's funny is I didn't even know this until like probably 6 months ago. Like you can watch some pretty awesome, because I'm super into documentaries. You can watch some awesome documentaries on YouTube about like people that you don't have any idea. They're not like famous or anything, but like you get into these documentary like black holes, and all of a sudden you're like, holy cow, this guy's story is insane.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Okay, burrito or taco?
We're tacos.
Well, we know the taco setup.
Up until probably, I don't know, a year or two ago, I would have probably said burrito, but now I'm pretty much taco, trying to, I guess, I still eat a lot of carbs, but trying to.
He's actually really skinny.
You look a little fitter there, Adam.
No
denying it.
I may be fair, but I'm still not thin, that's for sure.
All right, so Supercross or motocross?
Supercross.
You guys are both going Supercross? Well, I kind of think the same as you, like, because Casey was always really good at Supercross. But honestly, man, like lately, like the past few years, I've been getting super into the whole motocross thing. Like, it's just so gnarly. Like, especially how fast. Like, when you see Tomac ride a motocross track, it will freaking blow your mind.
Crazy. Super.
Yeah,
awesome.
I mean, I'm a super fan of both.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say if I had to pick one, it would be Supercross.
Yep.
Rhonda, have you ever ridden a dirt bike? Are you ride?
Yeah, she ate it a couple years ago on a friend of ours. It was like I think it was like a 110, but we were at
it was modded.
A friend's house. He's got
it
like
was
a
modded.
And yeah, she's like, I'm gonna go ride this on the fifth scale track. And I'm like, well, be careful, like. It's the next thing you know, she comes back, like the bars are all twisted and she's all dirty, and she's like, I just ate shit.
What happened? Holy cow.
I wanted to race like dirt bikes and everything, but my mom wasn't having it, so And I'm kind of glad I didn't, seeing everybody how jacked up they are and everything. So
Hey, thanks.
She kept you safe. What happened when you biffed, though?
I didn't really want to
whiskey throttled it.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
really?
And then it like flew out from underneath me, and I just landed flat. And like remember Tweety Bird with the little thing around his head? That's how it was. But I walked back, and I didn't tell him how much pain I was really in. I was just kind of like, I ate shit. And then I had my arm in a sling the next day, and I still have scars from it and everything.
Nice.
So now, Adam, whenever you see a dirt bike, you're like, Rhonda, no.
Nope.
Yeah, exactly.
So what other form of racing, it's open season on this question, would you like to try?
I mean, honestly, like, there's not really anything that I would want to do over RC. Like, I enjoy RC, and that's, I mean, I would do any form of racing, but if it was like I had to trade RC for another form of racing, I would stay with RC.
Let's just make it a little bit simpler then. What if somebody gave you a free pass, no budgets, and it's just one weekend? You can go do whatever you want. You gonna drive a F1 car? You gonna drive a speedboat?
I would probably prefer F1 car.
Nice. Rhonda? Trophy truck.
Speedboat or F1?
F1 for sure.
Nice.
Oh, I didn't mean just speedboat or F1. I mean, like, you could just take you could do a trophy truck, you could do a monster truck, you could do whatever you want.
Trophy truck would be awesome. That would be something that I would want to do, or at least want to try. But again, I love RC. I love what we do, and I don't think that, like, it would be cool to try some of those other things, but I love doing RC.
All right, the last one. This is the most important question of the night. Should I change up, catch up for sweet and sour?
Yeah, maybe so.
All right, chips and guacamole or French fries and sweet and sour?
Or ranch, actually.
Ranch, yeah.
Chips and guac, yep.
Yep, chips and guac. That's a profiling question, because if you answer that wrong, then it's like,
Yeah.
Profile all day long. I love it.
Awesome.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you guys very much. Thanks, Rhonda, for joining us for a little bit, too.
Yep.
We appreciate it. So, I hope you guys can keep getting back out to the track, man. It kind of does suck that all this C19 stuff has been happening, but I'm glad that you guys have been at least having fun, spending time together, at least getting some work done. Obviously, you're starting your new business, and you got all this cool stuff happening around you. It'll just start getting kicked off a little bit more when all this stuff settles, huh?
Yeah, I mean, again, we're headed in the right direction. Things are starting to open back up. The number of people at the local track practicing and stuff like that lately has been really awesome. Our local track, with a shop, Revelation Raceway, the shop has been busier than it's ever been with both racers and bashers. So again, I think there's a silver lining in it all. Hopefully it continues to trend in that direction, and we're able to continue having fun and hopefully grow the hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be super cool to see that. Do you know if there's any events, you might not know it like on your schedule now, but any events that are happening July 16th through the 21st?
Let me think. So 16th through the 21st, I believe that's Psycho Nitro in Tennessee, which will be a huge event. Yeah. I don't know if it's so 16th through the
of July.
So the beginning part of that week, I don't think the race starts until Friday. So it's, I think, what's 21st got to be that Sunday?
Yeah, it's almost the whole week through. Excuse me, the whole week through. The reason that I asked that question was selfishly thinking about myself, is I'm going to be out in Southern California, so if any of those tracks were open out there, I might stop by and hang out for a little bit.
Yeah, well, Rhonda will be in town. She's not going to do Psycho Nitro just because it's a race that pretty much runs 24 hours a day and is pretty brutal on the body. So definitely
there's too many people at the Psycho Nitro wearing Jerusalem Cruisers.
Yeah, that's what.
How did you come up with that name? Seriously.
Somebody we knew was wearing them, and the track announcer would always kind of give him a hard time about his shoes, and so I heard that and I started laughing.
It stuck.
That's hilarious, man.
It's funny.
All right.
Yeah, so definitely, if you're going to be in town, hit me up, and if I'm in town, it'd be great to catch up with you and have you out at the track. If not, maybe you can come out and wheel around this car around the track a little bit.
Come on out.
Sounds good to me. Well, I really appreciate you guys coming on the show. Rhonda, that was super cool of you to give Casey this frame picture and stuff like that too.
Yep, love it. Remember that, Rhonda?
Awesome to see all that stuff.
Yeah, I do.
So awesome. Thank you.
Thank you guys for staying up late with us on a Monday night. I know you guys are busy, so we really appreciate it. Anything else you got, Case?
I'm good. Good time. Great to see you guys, both of you.
All right, well, thank you guys so much. It was greatly appreciated. And if there's ever want to do this in the future or Instagram Live, just hit us up. We'd be happy to be on the show.
Yeah, let's definitely do it. We'll schedule something with you and Rhonda too. So
definitely.
Do it together or do it separate, whatever. We'll do it for sure. So, well, thank you guys very much. We really appreciate it. You guys stay safe and please have a good night.
All right, you too.
Good night.
See you guys.
See you guys.
See you guys later. Man, that was super cool. It's always amazing to me to understand like how long you can go really catching up with somebody and talking about the things that they did in their life. Like
totally.
We said it so how many times did we say it tonight? Like how much more we could talk.
Oh, it's just barely scrubbing the surface. That's
I
for
wonder
sure.
how our other guests feel about that same thing. You know what I mean? Like it would just be crazy to have a 5-hour show and see how much we could get done.
Right.
You know, like
I do.
Oh my gosh, it would be a little bit much for us to sit here for 5 hours.
Yeah.
So thank you guys very, very much for tuning in. We really appreciate that that everybody stayed on for so long with us tonight. We had a pretty long show.
But again, why it's so cool to dive into the stuff that nobody knows about.
It really was, because half the people that were commenting were saying, wow, I didn't know that, or oh, what a good story. Or
Yep, so like if you only had 3 hours to get 20 hours in, it would be awesome to know the stuff, which is what our guests do a lot of the times.
Exactly.
It's what we focus on, at least.
It is, exactly, man.
So we hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Brian. I didn't mean to not say, we had a lot of comments coming out on Facebook and stuff too. So don't forget, I know a lot of people already dropped off, but don't forget tomorrow we have a video being released at 10 a.m. on YouTube. So check out the Dirt Life Show YouTube channel. We'll probably put it on Instagram as well on Wednesday of Casey taking me on my first mountain bike ride using an e-bike from a Trek Rail Rail 7 from Broadway Bicycles. They helped out quite a bit, so it was really, really cool, man. Like Casey said in the video, I had a smile from ear to ear, so it was awesome to have that. So check it out tomorrow at 10 a.m. We'll see if we can get a bunch of views on YouTube for that. Next week's guest, we have our longtime friend, grew up in Tucson, Arizona as well. His name is Jake Ubetta. He raced short course side-by-sides with me, actually kind of taught me how to do all that stuff, and then now he's a professional drone pilot and does a lot of filming with guys like Jeremy McGrath and Kyle LeDuc, just a whole bunch of RJ Anderson, a whole bunch of awesome people. So
I think a small stint in the truck too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah,
pretty cool stuff.
He's a super cool guy, super humble, and to see the path that he's taken and the things that he's done in his life is pretty freaking awesome. And to see the leading this new like drone filming industry and stuff like that with the off-road stuff is pretty bitchin', man.
He's making a name for himself for sure.
100%. So thank you very much to all of our sponsors, Shock Therapy, thank you Solderwell, thank you Zollinger Racing Products, Rugged Radios, and KMC Wheels. On all those websites you can use the code DIRTLIFE and save yourself a whole bunch of money. You can give those guys a buzz and talk to them on social media, tell them the Dirt Life sent you, and yeah, man, you can just help out the people that help us. So we appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight. We love you guys so much. You guys are our lifeblood. So
absolutely.
Thank you guys very much. We will see you guys next Monday, 6 p.m. live on Facebook and YouTube. We love you. Good night.
Take care.
Thanks for listening to The Dirt Life Show.